Chapter 104. At this time, another figure appeared in an Ichang market. It was the Prime Minister's young miss, the current Crown Princess, Liu. Seeing that Bailey Hongzhuang was also in an Ichang market, Liu's eyes couldn't help narrowing as a trace of displeasure appeared on her face. Bailey Hongzhuang was picking out clothes. Her favorite was a set of white clothes, but since she was the Chen princess, she would have to go to the palace many times in the future. If she wore a set of white clothes every time, it wouldn't be appropriate, so she also picked out a few other colors. Suddenly, Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes fell on a white dress. This dress was as white as snow with a few peach blossoms dotted on it. It didn't look messy, but rather a bit fresh. Thinking of the peach blossoms in Qinzhuang Garden, Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes filled with a smile. This was the dress she was most satisfied with. Just as Bailey Hongzhuang picked up the dress, a slender arm also fell on the dress. Slightly raising her eyebrows, Bailey Hongzhuang suspiciously looked at the woman beside her. She saw Liu looking at her with disdain. "This dress, I want it." As soon as she opened her mouth, Liu's voice was filled with an indescribable strength. She didn't allow Bailey Hongzhuang to resist even half a bit. Bailey Hongzhuang's lips slowly curved into an enchanting smile. "Miss Li, this dress seems to have been picked up by this princess first, so it is mine." Seeing that Bailey Hongzhuang dared to refuse her, Liu's face instantly turned ashen. "I said that this dress is mine, so it is mine. I didn't know that Miss Li was so overbearing." Bailey Hongzhuang was still as indifferent as before. "However, this kind of overbearingness is useless against me." With a slight force in her right hand, Bailey Hongzhuang directly took the dress in her hand. Even if this woman wanted to be arrogant, she had to find the right person. She, Bailey Hongzhuang, was never easy to bully. "Bailey Hongzhuang." Liu raised her voice. "I'm the crown princess. You dare to offend me? Do you want to die?" "Hee hee." Bailey Hongzhuang chuckled, but her eyes gradually turned cold. "Miss Li, it's true that you're engaged to the crown prince, but you're not married yet. You're only the future crown princess. You don't have to be in such a hurry to get married, right? Young lady, it's better to be reserved." Bailey Hongzhuang glanced at Liu lightly, the meaning of which was self-evident. Liu was stunned. She didn't expect Bailey Hongzhuang to bring up this point. She was indeed not married to the crown prince yet. She was only the future crown princess. Seeing Bailey Hongzhuang's arrogant appearance, she felt a burst of displeasure. When Bailey Yuyan was disfigured, she became the #1 beauty in the imperial city. She didn't expect this Bailey Hongzhuang to suddenly appear and steal her title. Truly hateful. Even if she only had enmity with Bailey Yuyan before and didn't have any interactions with Bailey Hongzhuang, she now felt that Bailey Hongzhuang was even more hateful than Bailey Yuyan. "No matter what, I'm the future crown princess. You're only an insignificant princess and you dare to challenge me. Do you believe that I won't find His Highness the Crown Prince to punish you?" Liu only wanted to suppress Bailey Hongzhuang right now. After the title of the #1 beauty in the imperial city was stolen, she felt that everyone looked at her differently. Some of the young misses from official families that she didn't have a good relationship with used this to ridicule her. Chapter 105. Using this opportunity, she had to suppress Bailey Hongzhuang no matter what. She had to let her know who was the pheasant and who was the phoenix. "Young Miss Li, you also said that it's the future. Wait until you become the crown princess before saying these words to me." Bailey Hongzhuang's movements were not fast or slow. She took the clothes and walked forward. She still wanted to look at the other dresses. "Bailey Hongzhuang, you're going too far." Liu stamped her feet as she spoke. She really did not understand. This Bailey Hongzhuang was clearly married to a crippled prince. How could she still be so arrogant? Everyone thought that Bailey Hongzhuang would be depressed, but Bailey Hongzhuang was still so proud. This was completely outside of everyone's expectations. "Young Miss Li, if you like to shout like a shrew, then forgive me for not having the same hobby." Once these words were said, Li Yue's face became extremely ugly. Bailey Hongzhuang actually dared to call her a shrew? The future crown princess was a shrew? The commotion between Li Yue and Bailey Hongzhuang attracted the attention of many people. Normally, there were many people in an Aichang market, and most of the people who came here had a certain status. When everyone saw Li Yue and Bailey Hongzhuang together, they knew that there would be a good show to watch. In the past few days, they had heard that Li Yue had been sulking in the Prime Minister's manor because her title of number 1 beauty had been stolen. Now that they saw the confrontation between Bailey Hongzhuang and Li Yue, their hearts were filled with admiration for Bailey Hongzhuang. Once Princess Chen opened her mouth, Li Yue could not resist at all. Especially that tone, that attitude, Li Yue could not be compared to her at all. It was clearly Li Yue who had first caused trouble for Bailey Hongzhuang, but now she was being taught a lesson by Bailey Hongzhuang. Look, Li Yue's face is green with anger. Because she has become the future crown princess, Li Yue has been as ostentatious as a peacock recently. She can't wait to show off her engagement with His Highness the Crown Prince. Even I find it ridiculous. Princess Consort Chen is indeed extraordinary. Li Yue has encountered a tough opponent this time. Everyone held the mentality of watching a good show. Normally, it was rare to see such a wonderful show, and they only wanted to know exactly how it would end. Li Yue strode to the front of Bailey Hongzhuang. Her pretty face was slightly cold, and she did not hide her arrogance. Bailey Hongzhuang, if you don't leave this dress behind today, I won't let you walk out of an Aichang market store. There were so many people in an Aichang market. If she lost face here today, how would she be able to face others? Are you threatening this prince's wife? A low and magnetic voice suddenly sounded, but it was inexplicably cold. Li Yue was startled. Only then did she realize that Di Beichen was looking at her. She did not expect that Di Beichen would suddenly speak at this time. Her face could not help but become a little embarrassed. However, Li Yue quickly recovered her arrogant appearance. That's right. If she does not apologize to me today, I will not let you leave here. As soon as she spoke, Li Yue even brought up Di Beichen. She was very clear about Di Beichen's identity. He was just a dispensable prince. In the past, His Highness the Crown Prince had taken pleasure in torturing this guy. How could she be afraid of such a guy? Chapter 106. Hearing this, Li Yue's expression changed. Who do you think you are? How dare you talk to me like that? Di Beichen's handsome eyebrows rose slightly, and the smile on his face gradually turned into a cold arc. Are you worthy? Daring to provoke my woman, I will make you regret it. That low voice was filled with cold threat. Di Beichen's eyes were cold and an aura suddenly exploded. Li Yue was shocked and stood rooted to the ground. Under Di Beichen's aura, she felt that her body was out of her control. She looked at Di Beichen in horror. How come she didn't know that Di Beichen's strength was so strong? Moreover, even his tone was so domineering that people didn't have the courage to fight back. If you dare to hurt me, His Highness the Crown Prince will not let you off. Li Yue trembled. Looking at those incomparably cold eyes, she felt fear from the bottom of her heart for the first time. Whoever dares to threaten my princess consort, I will also not let that reckless person off. Hearing this, Li Yue's heart turned cold. Di Beichen was actually so protective of Bailey Hongzhuang. The onlookers were also completely stunned. All along, everyone thought that Prince Chen was easy to bully. They didn't expect him to be so terrifying when he was angry. Most importantly, Prince Chen was now very protective of his wife. It seemed that the rumors were true. Prince Chen was in love with Bailey Hongzhuang. Whether it was the betrothal gifts or not giving face to Bailey Hongzhuang at the wedding banquet, it was enough to prove Prince Chen's feelings for Bailey Hongzhuang. Li Yue actually wanted to bully Bailey Hongzhuang in front of Prince Chen. Prince Chen was angry. Seeing that the situation was so critical, Wei Nikhang hurriedly ran over. No matter who it was, if something happened in Nikhang Market would be in big trouble. Prince Chen, Miss Li only said those words in a moment of impulse. You can't argue with Miss Li. Wei Nichang's face was full of smiles, but her heart was in a perilous situation. Since Prince Chen met Princess Chen, his temperament had changed a lot. Princess Chen was really capable. Bailey Hongzhuang also spoke up at this moment. Li Yuyue, if you like to find trouble, you should choose a better partner in the future. She had many ways to deal with Li Yuyue, but they were all done in secret. It was not good to have a conflict on the surface. Your Highness, don't be angry with her. It's not worth it. Bailey Hongzhuang said with a light smile. Di Beichen's expression eased a little. Since Wang Fei has spoken, then let's drop this matter for now. If you dare to ask for a snub again, Ben Wang will not let you have the chance to regret. Seeing Di Beichen withdraw his aura, Li Yuyue's entire body almost went limp. Her back was already drenched in cold sweat. Your Highness, wait for me outside. I still have 2 words to say to Miss Li. Bailey Hongzhuang said. Di Beichen nodded. He Mu immediately took the dress that Bailey Hongzhuang had chosen. After paying the money, he walked out of Nikhang Market. After Di Beichen left, Li Yue bitterly looked at Bailey Hongzhuang. I didn't expect you to be so good at seducing men. Not only Di Beichen, but even His Highness the Crown Prince was captivated by Bailey Hongzhuang. At the selection banquet, he had declared that he would marry Bailey Hongzhuang. This was a thorn in her heart forever. Chapter 107. Li Yue was angry. This woman's words and actions were so unconventional. Today I'm in a good mood, so I don't want to bicker with you. Bailey Hongzhuang looked indifferent. I just want to give Miss Li a word of advice. Everything should not be said too early. Back then, I was also the future crown princess. Her voice falling, Bailey Hongzhuang didn't stay any longer, directly leaving Nikhang Market. Looking at the thin figure that was getting further and further away, Li Yuyue could not say a word. She understood the meaning of Bailey Hongzhuang's words. At that time, Bailey Hongzhuang was also the crown princess, but the marriage contract was cancelled. Bailey Hongzhuang was reminding her that before she became the crown princess, anything could happen. Leaving in Ichang Market, Bailey Hongzhuang saw Di Beichen waiting for her not too far away. Seeing Bailey Hongzhuang come over, Di Beichen's lips curved into a smile. Is the matter resolved? Bailey Hongzhuang nodded slightly. Li Yuyue provoked her, so she naturally wanted to teach her a lesson. The reason why she stayed behind to say a few words to Li Yuyue was not to warn her, but to do something. She, Bailey Hongzhuang, was a vengeful person. Why are you so generous today? These clothes are not cheap. Bailey Hongzhuang raised an eyebrow and looked at Di Beichen with a puzzled expression. When she was choosing the clothes, she saw the price. Thinking back to when she asked Di Beichen for 100 gold coins, this guy didn't give it to her. Di Beichen blinked and pretended to be shy as he looked at Bailey Hongzhuang. Other people's money is to be kept for their wife. At that time, you didn't promise me, so I didn't give it to you. Today is different from the past. My wife is already my person, so of course all your expenses will be covered by your husband. Bailey Hongzhuang's smile gradually widened. Although she knew that this guy was lying, she was still in a good mood. The next moment, Di Beichen took out a black money card and handed it to Bailey Hongzhuang. If you need money in the future, just take it from this card. The Tianxiang Trading Company was a trading company that could be found all over the Shengxian continent. Everyone would deposit their money in the Tianxiang Trading Company, making it more convenient to use. Bailey Hongzhuang had earned a lot of money through Godly Doctor Square, but she only had a silver card from Tianxiang Trading Company. Di Beichen actually had a black card? The Tianxiang Trading Company's money cards were divided into 4 grades: cyan, silver, gold, and black. Even in the entire Fengbo country, one would not be able to find a single black card. This was because the Heaven Auspicious Trading Company was spread throughout the entire Shengxian continent. Naturally, there was no need to mention their wealth. But even so, Di Bachin actually possessed a black card. As it turned out, Di Bachin was not a pauper, but a rich man. I have enough money for my own use, so you can keep yours for yourself. Bailey Hongzhuang spoke up. Di Bachin's actions gave her a misconception that only a true married couple would hand over their money. Take it. You're still in the early stages of cultivation, so you should focus all your energy on cultivation. Di Bachin said. In my opinion, your godly Dr. Square should specialize in selling pills. As for treating patients, it's better to put it on hold. Why? Bailey Hongzhuang asked. Di Bachin smiled. My wife, you're now the Chun Wangfei. If you were to appear in public to treat people, it wouldn't be good for your reputation. You care. Chapter 108. I don't mind. Di Bachin shook his head. However, the royal hunting competition is just around the corner. If you can get a good ranking there, it'll be good for you. Hearing Di Bachin's words, Bailey Hongzhuang immediately understood his plan. She nodded and said, Then I'll temporarily stop treating patients in godly Dr. Square. If she guessed correctly, Di Bachin also thought that she was very likely to be Lan Yunxiao's daughter. If she had to face the entire Lan family in the future, she wouldn't have time to waste on godly Dr. Square. Bailey Hongzhuang temporarily stopped treating patients in godly Dr. Square, but the pills were still sold. Afterwards, she returned to Prince Chen's estate to cultivate in peace. There was only half a month left before the royal hunting competition. She had to improve her strength as soon as possible. The next day, Bailey Hongzhuang directly walked into the room next door to look for Di Bachin. Di Bachin, do you know of any places near the imperial city that are suitable for cultivation? For example, a waterfall or something like that. After thinking about it yesterday, she felt that cultivating in the room could only improve her cultivation, but not her body. In her previous life, she had soaked in all kinds of medicinal herbs since she was young, so her body had always been very strong. Unfortunately, it wasn't the case in this life. Bailey Hongzhuang's body was not only stronger than others, but because of long-term malnutrition, her body was even worse than an ordinary person's. Even if she cultivated now, she still couldn't display her full strength. The root cause of this was her body's problem. It was because of this that Bailey Hongzhuang decided to leave the Prince Chen's estate to cultivate. Only by increasing her body's strength could she display her full strength. Moreover, the cultivation of her body's physique was also beneficial to her cultivation. Taking advantage of her young age to lay a solid foundation would be of great benefit to her future cultivation. Di Bachin immediately understood Bailey Hongzhuang's meaning. He was somewhat surprised. He already knew that Bailey Hongzhuang wasn't Bailey Hongzhuang's daughter. However, during this period of time, Bailey Hongzhuang had changed a lot. Most cultivators only paid attention to the improvement of their cultivation base when they were cultivating, and did not pay attention to their own physique. This was especially true for cultivators from small dynasties. They did not know the importance of improving their physique at all. Only some of the top forces would remind them of this problem when they were nurturing the next generation. This problem was not obvious in the early stages of cultivation, but the more one cultivated, the more obvious the effect would be. Although Bailey Hongzhuang was the daughter of the Lan family, she had only found out about this a few days ago. How would she know the importance of improving one's physique? It seemed that Bailey Hongzhuang was even more mysterious than him. Not far from the imperial city, there is a small mountain range with a waterfall, Di Bachin replied. Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes lit up, her lips curling into a smile. Really? Where exactly is it? Are you going to go alone? Di Bachin asked. Although that place is not far from the imperial city, there is no lack of demon beasts roaming about. With your current cultivation, it will be dangerous for you to go there alone. No problem, I know what I'm doing. Bailey Hongzhuang smiled, but her eyes were unusually firm. In her previous life, she often went out alone to gain experience. who knew how many dangerous situations she had experienced, so she was very experienced. Even if her current strength was not strong enough, she believed that she could return safely. Chapter 109. Bailey Hongzhuang was startled. I'm going there to cultivate. If you go with me, how will I be able to cultivate in peace? Don't worry, as long as your life isn't in danger, I won't do anything. Di Beichen smiled. You're my precious wife. If you're in danger, what am I supposed to do? Bailey Hongzhuang rolled her eyes. What do you want to do with me? Wherever my wife goes, your husband will be there. Without waiting for Bailey Hongzhuang to reply, Di Beichen continued, I'll send someone to prepare and spread the news of us going out together. At the same time, it'll let others know how good our relationship is. Di Beichen. Bailey Hongzhuang's mouth twitched, but Di Beichen acted as if he didn't hear her reply and left. Master, I think Di Beichen is only doing this because he's worried about you. Just let him go, Xiao Bai slowly said. Bailey Hongzhuang was only at the late stage of the mysterious Earth realm, which was considered pretty good among the younger generation. However, the mysterious divine continent was filled with monsters. If they were to encounter a powerful monster, Bailey Hongzhuang would be in danger. Xiao He nodded. Di Beichen just can't bear to part with Master. There's nothing wrong with going together. Bailey Hongzhuang revealed a helpless expression, but just as Xiao He and Xiao Bai said, there was nothing wrong with Di Beichen going. In the mysterious divine continent other than humans there were also monsters. Monsters were able to cultivate just like human cultivators. The higher the level of a monster, the more powerful it was. Unlike the weak bodies of humans, monsters had very strong bodies. Therefore, when fighting with monsters, human cultivators were often at a disadvantage. Not only that, the reproduction rate of demonic beasts was also much faster than that of humans. However, the intelligence of demonic beasts was generally not high. Humans could invent all kinds of cultivation methods and martial skills to increase their combat strength. Demonic beasts could only rely on their own strength, which was why humans were able to keep the demonic beasts in check. The fur of demonic beasts could be made into leather armor, and their blood, eyes, and so on could be used as medicinal herbs. To humans, demonic beasts could be said to be full of treasures. Therefore, many cultivators in the Shengxian continent relied on hunting demonic beasts to make a living. As long as a demonic beast was killed, the materials on its body could be sold for a lot of money. Di Beichen acted very quickly. He knew that with Bailey Hongzhuang's current situation, it was better for her to cultivate as soon as possible. After giving some instructions, he and Bailey Hongzhuang left the imperial city in a carriage. The news that Prince Chen and Princess Chen went out of the city to play together spread from Prince Chen's mansion. The people were very envious of the deep affection between Prince Chen and Princess Chen. Coupled with the fact that Di Beichen was protective of his wife, everyone was even more envious of Bailey Hongzhuang. Although Prince Chen's legs were disabled, he doted on her very much. Coupled with his handsome appearance, these problems could be ignored. Bailey Yuyan almost broke her silver teeth when she heard the news. As she had guessed, Di Beichen doted on Bailey Hongzhuang very much. She just couldn't understand. Bailey Hongzhuang was a good-for-nothing and a woman whose engagement was broken. What was so special about her that Di Beichen treated her like a treasure? However, just as Di Beichen and Bailey Hongzhuang left the imperial city, an earth-shattering scream resounded in the Prime Minister's mansion. Chapter 110. The two of them were very anxious. Yesterday, Li Yuyue came home with an unhappy face, and no matter how they persuaded her, it was useless. Li Chengqian also hated Di Beichen. But yesterday, Li Yuyue was indeed unreasonable, and he didn't directly go to Prince Chen to reason. He could only wait for an opportunity to step on Prince Chen. But early this morning, Li Yuyue suddenly screamed. Did something happen again? Li Yuyue felt a little itchy on her face when she was sleeping last night, but she didn't care after scratching it a few times. She didn't expect that when she got up and prepared to dress up, she would suddenly find a lot of freckles on her face. The freckles densely covered both sides of her nose, and her originally outstanding face became ugly because of these freckles. She immediately went to fetch water to wash her face, but no matter how she washed, these freckles were deeply rooted on her face and couldn't dissipate at all. How could this be? Liuyue touched her face in horror. How did my face become like this overnight? Liuyue, who was immersed in shock, couldn't believe this fact. She even felt that she was dreaming. This was the face she was proud of. When Li Chengqian and Zhao Wenxiang came to the room, they saw a messy scene. The maidservants were all stunned and didn't dare to speak. What happened to you? Zhao Wenxiang asked. She knew her daughter's temperament very well. She had never been at a disadvantage, but no one should have angered Liuyue in this way. Mother! Liuyue turned her head with tears in her eyes and looked at Zhao Wenxiang behind her. Seeing Liuyue's tear-stained face, Zhao Wenxiang felt a burst of heartache. But when she looked carefully, she suddenly found the change on Liuyue's face and couldn't help but be stunned. What happened to your face? Liuyue sadly shook her head. I don't know. When I woke up today, I was already like this. What should I do? She recalled what Bailey Hongzhuang said yesterday. As long as they weren't married, anything was possible. Now that she had become like this, would His Highness still be willing to marry her? Li Chengqian's face also changed. His daughter was going to be the empress. If she became like this, how could she face others in the future? Quickly go find a doctor. Li Chengqian waved his hand and instructed the servants. Yes. The servant quickly took the opportunity to leave the room and went outside to find a doctor. Only then did Li Chengqian and Zhao Wenxiang carefully examine the freckles on Liuyue's face. Just looking at the densely packed freckles made one nauseous. Where was her usual beautiful appearance? How could such a perfectly fine face become like this for no reason? Zhao Wenxiang looked nervous. The day of her wedding with the crown prince was not far away. Once this news got out, their prime minister manner would also become a big joke. After various attempts, Zhao Wenxiang and Liuyue confirmed that the freckles were on Liuyue's face and couldn't be removed. After a short while, Li Chengqian said in a low voice, "Who have you encountered since yesterday?" Liuyue sobbed and said, "No one. Except for the conflict with Bailey Hongzhuang, there was no one else." Hearing this, Li Chengqian's expression couldn't help but change a little. Could it be that this matter is related to Bailey Hongzhuang? Chapter 111. Liuyue had always been safe and sound until yesterday when she had a conflict with Bailey Hongzhuang. Today she had become like this. This was too much of a coincidence. Liuyue was stunned. At this moment, she didn't have time to think. She only wanted to find a reason to push all the blame onto Bailey Hongzhuang. That's right. It must be Bailey Hongzhuang. Liuyue nodded. Father, you must seek justice for me. Don't worry. If this is really Bailey Hongzhuang's doing, I will definitely make her pay the price. Li Chengqian said with a gloomy face. Who was he? He even dared to touch his daughter. Bailey Hongzhuang must be tired of living. Soon, the doctor arrived. After examining Liuyue's face, he helplessly shook his head. I'm really sorry. I can't see the reason for Miss Li's freckles. This kind of situation is unheard of. There's no way at all. Zhao Wenxiang asked unwillingly. If Liuyue's face became like this, how could she face others in the future? In my opinion, only Miss Bailey from Godly Doctor Square has a way. If other doctors want to cure her, I'm afraid the possibility is very small. Li Chengqian and the other two's faces turned ugly. They now suspected that this was done by Bailey Hongzhuang. If they went to Bailey Hongzhuang for help, wouldn't they be seen as a joke by Bailey Hongzhuang for no reason? After the doctor left, Li Chengqian found a few more doctors. The results were the same as what the first doctor had said. Apart from Bailey Hongzhuang, there was probably no one else who could cure her. Master, in my opinion, we should go to Bailey Hongzhuang for help. As long as you make a move, I believe that Bailey Hongzhuang will definitely give you face. Zhao Wenxiang pondered. Li Yuyue hurriedly objected. Go and ask that woman for help? On what basis? She was still thinking about how to get back at Bailey Hongzhuang. If she went to Bailey Hongzhuang for help now, she was afraid that she would never be able to get back at her for the rest of her life. Zhao Wenxiang furrowed her brows slightly, her tone carrying a hint of reprimand. The most important thing for you right now isn't to get angry with Bailey Hongzhuang. Think about it, as long as you become the Crown Prince Consort, would you still need to worry about not having a chance to deal with Bailey Hongzhuang in the future? Li Chengxian nodded slightly. Your mother is right. Let's do this. Seeing Li Chengxian and Zhao Wenxiang's resolute attitude, although Li Yue was dissatisfied, she could only agree. After all, saving her face was the most important thing. However, when Li Chengxian sent someone to Godly Doctor Square to invite Bailey Hongzhuang, he learned that Godly Doctor Square had suspended the treatment because Princess Chen and Prince Chen had gone sightseeing. He then sent someone to Prince Chen's estate to inquire, but was told that they didn't know when Prince Chen and Princess Consort would return. This news made Li Chengxian's family feel helpless. At this critical time, Bailey Hongzhuang had left. Didn't that mean that they had no other way? Compared to the Prime Minister's estate, Bailey Hongzhuang and Di Beichen were very comfortable. He Mu was driving the carriage outside, while Bailey Hongzhuang and Di Beichen were sitting in the carriage and admiring the scenery on both sides of the street. Since you've left the Imperial City, you don't need to continue pretending, Bailey Hongzhuang said slowly. As a normal person, it was uncomfortable to play the role of a cripple all day. Di Beichen smiled faintly. If we meet other people in the mountains, then our identities will be exposed. Chapter 112. Right now, he was already trying to understand the news from above. He had endured for so long. Since he could stand up again, there was no need to continue enduring. It wouldn't be long before he could stand upright in front of everyone. Suddenly, a sly smile appeared in Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes. Why don't I help you disguise yourself? Di Beichen raised his eyebrows. You know how to disguise yourself? In the pugilistic world, the art of disguise was a necessary skill. However, ordinary disguises were easily seen through, so it was better than nothing. As for the true art of disguise, it could be said that it had been lost for a long time. It was said that the art of disguise from 1,000 years ago could reach the stage where the fake could be passed off as the real thing. Unfortunately, it was no longer available. Bailey Hongzhuang nodded slightly. My disguise is not comparable to ordinary disguises. I guarantee that you will be surprised. Since you say it's so magical, then I'll give it a try. Di Beichen's eyes were filled with affection. He could clearly see the sly look in Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes. He was afraid that this girl had some bad ideas in her mind. After instructing Di Beichen to close his eyes, Bailey Hongzhuang began to disguise Di Beichen. With such a handsome face, she had to dress up properly. Master, Di Beichen's handsome face has been completely ruined by you. Looking at Bailey Hongzhuang's disguised face, Xiao He could not help but cover her eyes. It was simply unbearable to look at. Xiao Bai's mouth also twitched. She secretly decided that no matter who she offended in the future, she could never offend Master. Master was still angry about Di Beichen bullying Master on their wedding night. Looking at Di Beichen's disguised face, she could tell how angry Bailey Hongzhuang was. A perfectly good face had been ruined. After a while, Bailey Hongzhuang clapped her hands and smiled. It's done. Perfect. Di Beichen opened his eyes and looked at Bailey Hongzhuang's smiling face. The corners of his mouth also blossomed into a smile. Look, do you think my painting is good? Bailey Hongzhuang was full of smiles as she handed the mirror to Di Beichen. Taking the mirror, Di Beichen looked at his completely changed appearance in the mirror. The smile on his face froze for a moment. What appeared in the mirror was a rough, burly man. Not only was his face full of stubble, There was also a huge mole on the side of his mouth. I've helped you with your disguise. This way, I guarantee that no one will to recognize you. Although Di Bei-chun felt helpless about this disguise, looking at himself in the mirror without any trace of disguise, his dark eyes rippled with emotion. This disguise was definitely the best he had ever seen. If he didn't know himself, he wouldn't have believed that this was himself. Wife's disguise is naturally very good. I just don't know what kind of envious expression other people will have if they see a rough man like me being able to marry a beautiful woman like you. Di Bei-chun Bailey Hongzhuang gave a rough smile. He put an arm around Bailey Hongzhuang's shoulder. For some reason, seeing Di Bei-chun like this, Bailey Hongzhuang had a bad feeling. Not long after, Bailey Hongzhuang and the others arrived at their destination. Wang Yi, Wang Fei, we've arrived at the waterfall, He Mu reminded from outside the carriage. Chapter 113. On the way here, how come he didn't notice that there was an extra person in the carriage? Bailey Hongzhuang couldn't hide the smile in her eyes. Di Bei-chun helplessly said, He Mu. Hearing this familiar voice, He Mu looked at Di Bei-chun in disbelief. Your Highness? That's right, this princess disguise technique is pretty good. Bailey Hongzhuang revealed a proud smile. Seeing Bailey Hongzhuang confirm his guess, He Mu's mouth couldn't help twitching. His young master had always been handsome, but now he had turned into a country bumpkin. This was too funny. If you want to laugh, then laugh. It'll be bad if you get sick from holding it in. Di Bei-chun lightly said. Pohaha! He Mu looked at Di Bei-chun's face as he laughed. Haha, this is too funny. Your Highness is ugly to the extreme. Haha! Ugly! Seeing that He Mu was about to cry from laughing, Di Bei-chun's eyes darkened and he indifferently said, Wife, He Mu has been with me for many years. In order to hide his identity, he has also changed his appearance. As for his disguise, it has to be uglier than me. He Mu was stunned. Thinking of this appearance, he really couldn't accept it. Your Highness, I was wrong. You're a great person, please don't hold a grudge against a lowly person. Please forgive me this time. Your Highness, I won't laugh at you in the future. Your Highness, please be merciful. In the end, Bailey Hongzhuang and Di Bei-chun ignored He Mu's pleas and changed him into an even uglier country bumpkin. Di Bei-chun, who was originally too horrible to look at, now looked much better with the even uglier He Mu as a comparison. He Mu sullenly looked at Di Bei-chun and Bailey Hongzhuang. These two fellows were simply colluding with each other. They only knew how to bully an honest person like him. This was too pitiful. What appeared in front of Bailey Hongzhuang was a giant valley with green trees and beautiful scenery. Rumble! The sound of the waterfall crashing down was terrifying and clear. Just by listening to this sound, Bailey Hongzhuang knew that this waterfall was not small. The water vapor blew against his face, and under this clear and cloudless weather, it was quite enjoyable. Even his originally depressed mood was gradually lifted. Wife, what do you think of this place? Di Bei-chun asked with a smile. Bailey Hongzhuang nodded in satisfaction. Very good. It's better than I expected. As long as my wife is satisfied. Bailey Hongzhuang turned to look at the two men beside her and said, Then I'll go cultivate under the waterfall. You guys can do as you please. After saying that, Bailey Hongzhuang no longer paid any attention to Di Bei-chun and He Mu. She had originally intended to cultivate by herself. As for what these two fellows wanted to do here, it had nothing to do with her. Seeing Bailey Hongzhuang's figure gradually disappear into the distance, He Mu looked at Di Bei-chun in confusion. Young master, you're just going to let the princess consort cultivate by herself? She can cultivate by herself. What can I do? Then what did we come here for? To take you out for a walk. He Mu rolled his eyes. Young master, the scenery here is so beautiful. Why don't we cultivate together? All right. He Mu was helpless. He finally understood that his young master had only come here to ensure the Princess Consort's safety. He had never imagined that his young master would one day become a bodyguard like him. Bailey Hongzhuang walked to the bottom of the waterfall. Looking at the Tenjiangtal waterfall, her eyes flashed with a complicated light. Chapter 114. Master, this waterfall is too big. Based on your current strength, it'll be a little difficult, Xiaobai said in a low voice. On the path of cultivation, it was normal to encounter danger within a certain range. However, if the danger was greater, then it was better to be cautious. Bailey Hongzhuang pondered for a moment. According to her experience, although there was a certain amount of danger in cultivating here, it was not life-threatening. As for injuries and the like, since she had embarked on the path of cultivation, injuries were unavoidable. After making up her mind, Bailey Hongzhuang walked resolutely towards the bottom of the waterfall. The loud sound of the waves filled her ears. Her clothes were completely drenched in the first moment. It was spring now. When she touched the river water, it was still icy cold. Bailey Hongzhuang's face paled a little because of the cold. Master, can we return to the Chaos Ring? Xiao He struggled to ask in the wave. Bailey Hongzhuang shook her head slightly. You two fellows are unwilling to suffer. Your strength needs to increase too. It's better if you cultivate with me. Master, don't, Xiao He wailed. She originally looked beautiful and delicate, but now she looked like a drowned rat. Her soft and shiny fur. Ruined. Ruined. Everything was ruined. The stones under the waterfall were very slippery. On top of that, with the pressure of the waterfall, Bailey Hongzhuang almost could not stand firm. Her entire body was thrown more than 10 meters away. Her body slammed against the stones, and she felt a piercing pain. However, Bailey Hongzhuang did not seem to feel the pain and continued to walk towards the bottom of the waterfall. The outcome was the same. Bailey Hongzhuang did not even have time to stand firm before her entire body was thrown down by the waterfall. Bailey Hongzhuang stood up again. She insisted on walking towards the bottom of the waterfall. Xiao He and Xiao Bai, who had been complaining, quietly shut their mouths when they saw Bailey Hongzhuang's persistence. In the face of such pain, even their master didn't say anything, so it was really inappropriate for them to be chirping here. Bailey Hongzhuang's lips had already turned purple from the cold, but her deep eyes were shining with a bright and resolute light. The conviction to become stronger was supporting her from the bottom of her heart. She wanted to become stronger. For all the humiliation she had suffered, for her biological parents, for her unyielding pride. Time and time again, Bailey Hongzhuang was mercilessly swept far away by the waterfall and stood up again and again. From beginning to end, she never wavered. Not far away, when He Mu saw Bailey Hongzhuang like this, his heart filled with deep admiration. Wang Fei is too stubborn. He Mu sighed. I'm afraid she's not much different from young master. He had followed the young lord since he was young and had watched the young lord go through all kinds of hardships to cultivate. Everyone else only saw the glorious side of the young lord, but only he knew how much the young lord had suffered. There were many female cultivators around them, but it was rare to see someone cultivate as hard as Wang Fei. Di Beichen's eyes flashed with admiration. From the first time he saw Bailey Hongzhuang, he knew that this woman had a strong heart. This was the first time he saw Bailey Hongzhuang cultivate. From that unwavering gaze, he seemed to see himself in the past. They were both people who were willing to risk their lives. In order to increase their own strength, they were willing to give up everything. Perhaps it was because of this that he, who had always been blunt with women, wanted to be good to a woman for the first time. Chapter 115. Di Beichen waved his hand. Even if you go, what can you help her with? He Mu was slightly stunned. After thinking for a moment, he had no choice but to admit that they couldn't help her at all. Cultivation is one's own perseverance. Although others can give you some pointers, in the end, you still have to rely on yourself. Di Beichen's lips curled up slightly. Besides, Bailey Hongzhuang already has a cultivation method in her heart. Only when night fell did Bailey Hongzhuang walk out from under the waterfall. Her body had already been frozen stiff. The burning pain continued to spread, causing her to frown. Not far from the waterfall, there was a shallow cave. It should have been a demonic beast's nest in the past, but now it was empty. It was very suitable for her to rest. After walking into the nest, Bailey Hongzhuang carefully examined the injuries on her body. Her shoulders were already green from being hit by the river water. Her hands and feet were also bruised from the collision in the process of being washed out. Some areas even had blood seeping out. In just a short day, she was practically covered in cuts and bruises. The quality of this body is really bad. Bailey Hongzhuang sighed inwardly. If she wanted to completely increase the speed of this body, she was afraid that it would take a lot of time. Wife. At this moment, Di Beichen's voice suddenly came from outside the cave. Bailey Hongzhuang slowly walked out of the cave. She saw Di Beichen looking at her with a smile, but He Mu wasn't by his side. Why are you here? She had noticed that Di Beichen had also gone off to cultivate. They had agreed not to disturb each other during cultivation. This is for you. Di Beichen handed an exquisite white porcelain bottle to Bailey Hongzhuang. Once your body's strength has reached its peak, take this pill. It will greatly improve your body's quality and cultivation. Hearing this, Bailey Hongzhuang took the white porcelain bottle and waved it in front of Di Beichen. Many thanks. Then rest well. Don't force yourself. Di Beichen gave a few words of advice before leaving. He and He Mu also discovered a cave not far away. If Bailey Hongzhuang made a move, they would be able to detect it immediately. Watching Di Beichen's figure disappear into the night, Bailey Hongzhuang's heart was filled with warmth. With Di Beichen's current state, there was no need for him to go to the wild at all. It was much more comfortable to cultivate in Prince Chen's mansion than here. The reason why he came here was entirely for her safety. So far, Di Beichen was probably the only person who had done so much for her safety. Back in the cave, Bailey Hongzhuang took out the pills that Di Beichen had given her. Bailey Hongzhuang immediately recognized the name of the pill. This is the 7 Treasure Pill. The 7 Treasure Pill was extremely useful for low-level cultivators. It was even more effective than the Peiyuan Pill. The ingredients for the 7 Treasure Pill were extremely precious. Bailey Hongzhuang had previously wanted to refine it for her own use. However, after asking around in the medicine shops in the Imperial City, she was unable to gather enough ingredients to refine the 7 Treasure Pill. Thus, she could only refine the Peiyuan Pill, which was slightly less effective. She did not expect that Di Beichen actually had the 7 Treasure Pill. Moreover, there were quite a few of them. With this 7 Treasure Pill, her cultivation speed could be said to be twice the result with half the effort. Without hesitation, she took out a 7 Treasure Pill and swallowed it. Bailey Hongzhuang closed her eyes and entered a state of cultivation. Chapter 116. The next day, when the sun had just risen, Bailey Hongzhuang walked out of the cave. After a night of training, the pain from yesterday's body had subsided a little. Although there was still some pain, it was completely within the limits of what she could endure. After taking the 7 Treasures Pill, she could clearly feel that the elemental energy in her body was much stronger than before. This was an increase in her strength. Sweeping her gaze, Bailey Hongzhuang did not discover Di Beichen and He Mu. She did not continue to search, and instead went to train under the waterfall. Now she was racing against time. In order to achieve good results in the royal hunting competition, she had to quickly increase her cultivation. The reason why she wanted to achieve good results in the royal hunting competition was to clear her name as a useless person, and also because every royal hunting competition had rich rewards. This time, the royal hunting competition's reward just happened to have something she needed, so naturally she could not let it go. With yesterday's experience, Bailey Hongzhuang was able to endure for a little longer when she trained again. However, it was only for a short few seconds, and her body was once again washed out. Although it was only for a short few seconds, Bailey Hongzhuang's heart was still filled with joy. As long as there was progress, one day she would complete the tempering of her body. Time flew by like a white steed, passing by in an instant. Bailey Hongzhuang would train until she was completely exhausted every day before stopping. At night, she would take the 7 treasures pill in the cave to train. Under this kind of perverted training, Bailey Hongzhuang's improvement was extremely fast. Coupled with her unique training method, even Di Beichen was shocked by her speed. Even with the help of the 7 treasures pill, it was reasonable to say that Bailey Hongzhuang's strength should not have increased so quickly. He Mu was already full of admiration for Bailey Hongzhuang. He originally thought that Bailey Hongzhuang would be able to endure for the first day, and that it would be more difficult for her to do it every day. He never thought that Bailey Hongzhuang would be able to endure for longer each day, as if she could not feel the pain and despair. If he had the same perseverance as Bailey Hongzhuang, his strength would definitely increase by a few notches. Every day, Di Beichen and He Mu would hunt different demonic beasts and bring them back, roasting their meat as a meal. He Mu's cooking skills were unexpectedly good. Every day, Bailey Hongzhuang was able to eat her fill. Not to mention, the flesh of demonic beasts was filled with rich energy, which was extremely beneficial for her to replenish her physical strength. Although she didn't know if Di Beichen did it deliberately, Bailey Hongzhuang was very grateful to Di Beichen. Of course, that was under the condition that this fellow was not talkative. Finally, the royal hunting competition was about to begin. Bailey Hongzhuang and the other 2 had also embarked on their return journey the day before. Through this period of cultivation, Bailey Hongzhuang clearly felt the changes in her body. Although her body was still slender, her strength was far from what it used to be. Her muscles were more compact, and even her skin had become more lustrous. Under the nourishment of the demonic beast meat, the malnutrition that she had suffered for more than 10 years was completely cured. Her entire body was emitting a lustrous luster, and even her strength was much stronger than before. In the afternoon, Bailey Hongzhuang and Di Beichen finally returned to Prince Chen's estate. After living in the wild for more than 10 days, returning to Prince Chen's estate again felt an indescribable sense of familiarity. Li Chengqian's family had been worrying about Li Yue's freckles recently. Chapter 117. Master, tomorrow is the day of the royal hunting competition. Yue will also participate. How can she face the crown prince with her appearance? Zhao Wenxiang was very worried. These days, the prime minister's mansion had indeed blocked the news, but tomorrow, it couldn't be hidden anymore. Li Chengqian's face was very gloomy. The royal hunting competition will start tomorrow. Bailey Hongzhuang and the others should also be back. Are they not going to participate in the royal hunting competition? Why is it impossible? Zhao Wenxiang sighed. Bailey Hongzhuang is a good-for-nothing. It's meaningless for her to participate in the royal hunting competition. Prince Chen's legs are disabled. How can he participate in the hunting competition? Hearing Zhao Wenxiang's words, Li Chengqian's face was even more gloomy. If so, we can only let you pretend to be sick tomorrow. No matter what, we can't let the emperor and the crown prince know about this. I've been preparing for the royal hunting competition for a long time. Li Yue was very depressed. In order to show her brilliance in the biennial royal hunting competition, she even took a Peiyuan elixir. Now, she was going to miss this opportunity. Do you want to see the crown prince with this appearance? Li Chengqian's voice was cold. He had waited for so many years for the opportunity to make Li Yue a phoenix. He couldn't let it go to waste now. Just when Li Chengqian was very upset about this, the steward hurried over. Master, good news. What good news can there be at this time? Zhao Wenxiang said in a muffled voice. Master, Prince Chen and Princess Chen are back. They just returned to Prince Chen's mansion. The steward was very happy. He had sent people to keep an eye on Princess Chen according to Master's order. Once Prince Chen and Princess Chen came back, he would immediately report the news. Hearing this, Li Chengqian and the others couldn't help but be stunned. Then, their eyes shone brightly. After waiting for so long, Bailey Hongzhuang finally came back the day before the royal hunting competition. As long as Bailey Hongzhuang could cure Li Yue's face today, everything would be fine. Thinking of this, Li Chengqian and the others couldn't help but feel excited. Li Chengqian immediately sent someone to prepare a carriage and rushed to Prince Chen's mansion with Li Yue. Now, this matter could not be delayed at all. Bailey Hongzhuang returned to her room and was about to rest when she heard a servant report that the Prime Minister had arrived. Upon hearing this news, Bailey Hongzhuang raised her eyebrows and her lips curled into a mocking smile. It seemed that Li Yue didn't have a good time while she was away. At the same time, Di Beichen also came into the room. Li Chengqian is here. He specifically asked to see you. How was it? Go play with them? Hearing Di Beichen's words, Bailey Hongzhuang smiled. Since the Prime Minister is here, we naturally have to meet him. Di Beichen looked at Bailey Hongzhuang affectionately. He already knew why Li Chengqian came to Prince Chen's mansion. He knew that Bailey Hongzhuang was not someone who would suffer losses. It turned out that such a thing happened after Nikhang Market. Bailey Hongzhuang and Di Beichen came to the front hall unhurriedly. Li Chengqian's heart was already full of anger. He was the Prime Minister and the future father-in-law of Feng Bo country. Di Beichen and Bailey Hongzhuang dared to make him wait. Chapter 118. Li Chengqian said sarcastically. Although he didn't directly get angry, Bailey Hongzhuang and Di Beichen weren't stupid and could naturally hear the anger hidden in his words. What business does Prime Minister Li have with us? Di Beichen's expression was calm, as if he didn't feel Li Chengqian's anger, and went straight to the point. Surprise flashed through Li Chengqian's eyes. Di Beichen didn't have any status, so logically speaking, he should be in fear and trepidation. But now, as soon as Di Beichen opened his mouth, a shocking aura spread out and gave him heavy pressure. It was because of this pressure that Li Chengqian didn't continue to make things difficult. He said, "Today, I came to ask Princess Chen for help." A trace of confusion appeared on her pretty face. Bailey Hongzhuang asked, "You're looking for me?" Looking at Bailey Hongzhuang's natural expression, Li Chengqian's heart was pounding. Did this matter really have nothing to do with Bailey Hongzhuang? When he asked this question, he had been observing Bailey Hongzhuang's reaction. If this matter was really done by Bailey Hongzhuang, she shouldn't be able to disguise it so well. Recently, my daughter's face has started to have spots for no reason. I hope Princess Chen can treat it. Li Chengqian said slowly. Although he was asking Bailey Hongzhuang for help, Li Chengqian's face was still full of arrogance. With his status, Bailey Hongzhuang had to treat him even if she didn't want to. Bailey Hongzhuang's lips curled into a faint smile as she looked at Li Yue behind Li Chengqian. Her voice was provocative. "Miss Li is here to ask me to treat her?" Li Yue came to Bailey Hongzhuang with great reluctance. Earlier, she was showing off to Bailey Hongzhuang, and now she was asking Bailey Hongzhuang for help. Wasn't this slapping her own face? "Ask you." Hearing Bailey Hongzhuang's provocative question, Li Yue's face turned red with anger. "In your dreams." Bailey Hongzhuang sneered. "Then please go back. I have other things to do." Bailey Hongzhuang's posture was languid and her words were indifferent. In fact, since she chose to drug Li Yue, she had no intention of treating her. She was never a kind person. Had Li Yue was. Bailey Hongzhuang, do you know who I am? You. Actually. Li Chengqian's face was similarly gloomy. This Bailey Hongzhuang really didn't know what was good for her. Bailey Hongzhuang's lips curled into an enchanting smile. "Li Yue, is that the only thing you know how to say?" Her clear eyes were filled with impatience. Bei Li Hongzhuang felt that Li Yue was really a brainless idiot. She only knew how to use her status to bully others. Apart from that, she had no other use. How dare you? Li Chengqian was furious. Bei Li Hongzhuang, I am the Prime Minister. Do you know the consequences of offending me? Bei Li Hongzhuang's smile gradually turned cold and her voice was bone-chilling. I am Princess Consort Chen. What can a Prime Minister like you do to me? If you have the ability, then do it. Don't talk nonsense here. I don't want to listen. Li Chengqian was even more furious at her words. Chapter 119. Bei Li Hongzhuang, don't think that you can be proud just because you've become Princess Consort Chen. Prince Chen is just an illegitimate child who isn't favored. Who do you think you are? Li Chengqian roared. In his anger, Li Chengqian couldn't care less about these things and directly shouted out. The news that Di Beichen was Xianyuan Yutian's illegitimate child was tacitly acknowledged by almost everyone. It was just that no one mentioned it openly. When Li Chengqian shouted out these words, Bei Li Hongzhuang clearly felt a suffocating pressure coming from beside her. Do you know what you're saying? An ice-cold pressure slowly spread out. Di Beichen's eyes were swirling with a terrifying storm, like a black hole emitting a shocking power. Li Chengqian was stunned. After saying these words, he regretted it. Even if it was true, it was related to the imperial family's reputation. He couldn't speak carelessly. If it was spread to the emperor, he would be in trouble. Feeling Di Beichen's cold and sharp gaze, Li Chengqian felt as if he was being stared at by a great flood and ferocious beast. Even breathing became difficult. His eyes gradually widened as Li Chengqian looked at Di Beichen in shock. In the past, he only thought that Di Beichen was a useless cripple. He never thought that he would have such a terrifying side. Faintly, he felt that Di Beichen was even more terrifying than the emperor. How was this possible? Li Chengqian was stunned by his own feelings. This kind of aura was truly indescribable. Why did Di Beichen seem to have become a completely different person after getting married? Seeing that Di Beichen dared to threaten Li Chengqian, Li Yue angrily said, You, a cripple, dare to threaten my father. Who do you think you are? As she spoke, Li Yue looked at Bei Li Hongzhuang and arrogantly said, Bei Li Hongzhuang, you. Without waiting for Li Yue to finish, Bei Li Hongzhuang heard a loud sound, followed by Li Yue's crazy scream. Because when Li Yue said those words, He Mu made his move. A simple and violent punch directly blasted Li Yue out of the front hall, smashing the door and falling into the courtyard. He Mu's eyes flashed with excitement. For the past 3 years, whenever someone insulted the young master verbally, he wanted nothing more than to kill them. However, the young master had always made him restrain himself. Today, the young lord actually ordered him to make a move. Just from this attitude, he understood that the young master was about to take action. He was no longer as patient as before. When he thought of this, he couldn't help but feel excited. Li Chengqian was also stunned by the previous scene. All of this happened in the blink of an eye. He didn't even have time to react before Li Yue was already seriously injured. Di Beichen, you're finished. Li Chengqian's expression was extremely ugly. He simply couldn't believe that the scene in front of him was real. Di Beichen, who had always been bullied by others, actually dared to attack his daughter? Old bastard, I'll give you a chance. If you don't get lost now, I don't mind sending you flying as well. Di Beichen's expression was indifferent. He played it down as if he was just kicking out a dog. Good. Good. Li Chengqian's face was pale and his eyes were burning with anger. Di Beichen, you'll definitely regret this. Get lost. Li Chengqian hurriedly left the front hall and dragged Li Yue out of Prince Chen's estate. He secretly swore that he would definitely take revenge on Di Beichen and Li Chengqian. Chapter 120. Wife, did your husband get revenge for you? Turning around, Di Beichen put on his signature devilish smile as he looked at Bei Li Hongzhuang teasingly. Bailey Hongzhuang couldn't help but be speechless at Di Beichen's quick change of expression. I think you got revenge for yourself. Although she said that, the smile in Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes gradually deepened. From Di Beichen's actions, she could already guess Di Beichen's plan. The golden unicorn is not a fish in a pond, but a dragon in a storm. Di Beichen was never someone who would curl up in a small country like Fengbo. Now that his leg was healed, it was time for him to realize his ambitions. The two of them chatted and laughed as they returned to their respective rooms. Neither of them mentioned Li Chengqian again. In fact, they had never taken Li Chengqian seriously. The moonlight was deep, and the cool breeze was like water. The moonlight seeped into the room through the window and sprinkled on Di Beichen's body. His extraordinarily handsome face revealed a pensive expression. Young master. He Mu stood straight behind him and bowed. Di Beichen didn't turn around. He just looked at the crescent moon in the sky, his eyes hazy. Is everything ready? He Mu nodded slightly. Young master, everything is ready. Tomorrow I will leave Fengbo. You will protect Hongzhuang from the shadows. No matter what, you must protect her. Di Beichen instructed. He Mu understands. Looking at that tall and straight figure, He Mu's expression gradually changed. Young master really treated Miss Bailey differently. Young master originally hated being tied down, so in all these years, no one had entered his heart. But everything changed after Miss Bailey appeared. Young master even allowed him to stay. It was clear how much young master valued Miss Bailey. Di Beichen waved his hand and He Mu left the room. The young lord would be leaving tomorrow, and he must have many things to say to Miss Bailey. Bailey Hongzhuang was cultivating in the room when she suddenly heard a commotion outside the door. Di Beichen had already pushed the door open and walked in. Don't you know how to knock before coming in? Bailey Hongzhuang was speechless. What if she was changing clothes or something and was directly caught by Di Beichen? Di Beichen smiled ambiguously at Bailey Hongzhuang. You're already my wife. Why are you still treating me like an outsider? Not being an outsider doesn't seem to be a good thing. Bailey Hongzhuang raised her eyebrows. She sat down at the table and poured herself a cup of tea. Why are you looking for me so late at night? Di Beichen restrained his teasing smile. He stared at Bailey Hongzhuang's face and slowly said, I'm leaving tomorrow. Bailey Hongzhuang's expression changed. Although she had already expected Di Beichen to leave, her heart couldn't help but tremble when she heard this. Bailey Hongzhuang calmly replied. Her beautiful face was as usual, as if she didn't take this matter to heart. Even though Bailey Hongzhuang hid it very well, Di Beichen still saw the ripple in her eyes. His eyes filled with warmth. Di Beichen sat down next to Bailey Hongzhuang. His deep eyes stared into Bailey Hongzhuang's pitch-black eyes. His expression was serious as he said, After I leave, take good care of yourself. Don't let yourself get hurt. Bailey Hongzhuang originally wanted to laugh at Di Beichen, but when she saw the worry and concern in Di Beichen's eyes, her words were stuck in her throat. She couldn't say anything else. Chapter 121. Di Beichen's voice was slightly heavy, his eyes fixed on Bailey Hongzhuang's face without blinking, as if he wanted to deeply imprint Bailey Hongzhuang's appearance in his mind. This sentence was like a promise. He would definitely solve the matter as soon as possible. Once it was solved, he would immediately come to Bailey Hongzhuang. There was an ambiguous feeling spreading in the air. Bailey Hongzhuang's face revealed a trace of unnaturalness. Di Beichen's performance at the moment was too easy to misunderstand. I know. Bailey Hongzhuang said, although your leg disease has been cured, your physique has not changed. I will give you a list of the heaven and earth treasures you need. If you find them, keep them, they will be useful in the future. Di Beichen's mouth spread a faint smile. Just a moment ago, he clearly noticed that Bailey Hongzhuang's cheeks were flushed red. Obviously she was shy, so she deliberately changed the topic. Okay. Di Beichen smiled. The shy Bailey Hongzhuang was really too cute. Bailey Hongzhuang looked away. She knew that with Di Baichen's keen senses, he must have already noticed her change, so she simply stopped looking at him. "This is for you." Di Baichen handed the Qianquan bag to Bailey Hongzhuang's hand. "There are some cultivation resources inside. It is very useful for your current stage." "No need." Bailey Hongzhuang refused. She was not short of money now. Some cultivation resources could be prepared by herself. However, Bailey Hongzhuang's words were just spoken by Di Baichen overbearingly rejected. "Take it, I know you can solve it yourself, but even if you want to buy some cultivation resources, you may not be able to buy them in Feng Bo country." Hearing this, Bailey Hongzhuang's hand paused, then she immediately accepted it. She knew that what Di Baichen said was true. Although most things could be bought in Feng Bo country, some rare herbs were very difficult to obtain. For example, Bailey Yuyan previously wanted to buy the energy pill, but she had no way. Sometimes even if you have the money, you may not be able to buy what you need. Tomorrow at the royal hunting competition, you have to perform well. Di Baichen's eyes revealed a trace of regret. He originally wanted to accompany Bailey Hongzhuang to the royal hunting competition, but now he could not stay any longer. For this, he had waited for 3 years, so he could not delay any longer. Bailey Hongzhuang raised her eyebrows. "What is there to worry about when I go? You just take good care of yourself." She knew Di Baichen. As for herself, she sincerely hoped that he could succeed. As for herself, as when did she ever fear? "Wifey, are you worried about me?" Di Baichen's face revealed a teasing expression, his black eyes full of laughter. "Yes." Bailey Hongzhuang did not refute. At this time of departure, she was indeed worried about Di Baichen's safety. Seeing Bailey Hongzhuang admit it so directly, Di Baichen could not help but be stunned. Then a smile spread across his handsome face, elegant and charming. "I will definitely do as you say and return safely." The next day, the sun was bright and the sky was blue. When Bailey Hongzhuang walked out of the room, Di Baichen had already left Prince Chen's mansion. Looking at the empty room next door, she could not help but feel a sense of loss, but in just a moment, a bright smile was reflected on her face. Today was the day for her to show her strength. She should have removed the so-called trash title long ago. The carriage was already prepared. Bailey Hongzhuang set off for the royal hunting competition location. Chapter 122. Mount Luoxiao was located in the east of Feng Bo State, behind the imperial palace. It was spacious and not far away, so every royal hunting competition would be held here. When Bailey Hongzhuang arrived at Mount Luoxia, she saw dozens of tents in the distance, and the flag of Feng Bo State was fluttering in the wind. The guards were meticulously patrolling and guarding, and the maids were busy in each tent. When the carriage of Prince Chen's mansion came slowly, everyone's eyes were fixed on it. Almost everyone heard that Li Chengqian was humiliated in Prince Chen's mansion yesterday. Although Li Chengqian tried his best to block the news, it was inevitably discovered by some people who paid attention. Since Li Yue became the future crown princess, the Prime Minister's mansion had received a lot of attention. However, Li Yue, who had always been high-profile, suddenly began to shut herself in. Almost everyone thought that there was something strange about this matter. However, Li Chengqian, an old fox, had arranged everything so that no one could spy on it. Bailey Yuyan paid even more attention to Li Yue. After all, Li Yue took away the position that she had been longing for. Previously, Li Yue always ran to her to show off. Now, Li Yue suddenly became so low-key, which was definitely not her style. After some inquiries, she found that the Prime Minister's mansion was paying close attention to the situation of Prince Chen's mansion. They even went to Prince Chen's mansion as soon as Di Baichen and Bailey Hongzhuang returned. After hearing the news, she immediately rushed over, wanting to know the reason, but saw Li Chengqian dragging Li Yue out of Prince Chen's mansion in a hurry. The blood on the ground clearly showed that Li Yue was injured. Although she didn't understand why Li Chengqian and Li Yue went to Prince Chen's mansion, It was certain that Li Yue was injured in Prince Chen's mansion. Both Li Yue and Bailey Hongzhuang were people that Bailey Yuyan hated, so she had spread the news as soon as she knew about it. The future crown princess was beaten in Prince Chen's mansion, and Princess Chen was the former crown princess. This matter was too shocking, so it attracted everyone's attention. I heard that Li Yue had spent a lot of effort in order to perform well in the royal hunting competition, but she didn't come today. She must have been seriously injured in Prince Chen's mansion yesterday. Both Prince Chen and Princess Chen have changed their ways after getting married. It seems that they are not as easy to bully as before. Prime Minister Li is already here. Once Bailey Hongzhuang arrives, there will definitely be a good show. I'm really looking forward to it. Everyone's eyes flickered with excitement as they discussed among themselves. It was rare to see such a good show. Bailey Yuyan was even more excited. This whole thing was completely directed by her. Previously, Bailey Hongzhuang treated her like that. This time, she would definitely make things difficult for Bailey Hongzhuang. With the reminder of the servant, Bailey Hongzhuang slowly got off the carriage. In her sight, a huge hunting ground appeared in front of her. It was surrounded by bright yellow fences, showing magnificence and nobility everywhere. The royal hunting competition was set to last for 3 days, and the tents at the back were for everyone to rest. At this moment, the hunting competition was about to start, so everyone had already gathered in the hunting ground. Chapter 123. Bailey Hongzhuang was wearing a long white dress. When the wind blew, her clothes fluttered. Coupled with her cold and otherworldly aura, it was as if she was walking on clouds, ethereal and moving. The golden sunlight shone on her body, covering her in a layer of golden light, making her appear even more noble and beautiful. Her facial features, which were already exquisite to the extreme, were impeccable. Every movement was filled with unparalleled elegance, giving people a sense of beauty and enjoyment. It's been a while since we last met. Chen Wangfei seems to have become even more beautiful. It was unknown who was the first to sigh, but everyone couldn't help but nod. They also felt that Bailey Hongzhuang was becoming more and more beautiful. Only she was worthy of the title of the #1 beauty in the imperial city. No wonder His Highness the Crown Prince is regretting giving up such a great beauty. Who wouldn't regret it? These words were without a doubt what all the men were thinking. If they could be with this kind of beauty, they would be willing to give up 10 years of their lives. Even though Bailey Hongzhuang and Di Beichen had been married for a while, Bailey Hongzhuang had always been the most attention-grabbing person in the imperial city. In the past, they had only heard that Bailey Hongzhuang was a trash who couldn't cultivate. Adding on the fact that she had lost her sight, she could be considered an absolute tragedy. No one had paid attention to Bailey Hongzhuang's appearance, but ever since Bailey Hongzhuang appeared in their field of vision, she was like the sun, overshadowing the light of all the other noble ladies. Only now did they know that a trash in cultivation could also be peerless. Hearing everyone's discussion, Bailey Yuyan's eyes burned with the flames of jealousy. Playing to the gallery, Bailey Haoshuan was also angrily looking at Bailey Hongzhuang. Because Bailey Hongzhuang had broken his arm, his injury had not fully recovered yet. This time, he was not fated to participate in the imperial hunting competition. Originally, he had planned to perform well in the royal hunting competition and win glory for the general's residence. However, the glory that should have belonged to him was completely destroyed by Bailey Hongzhuang. "Sister, you must avenge me." Bailey Haoshuan clenched his fists, his eyes flashing with a malicious light, his voice low and cold. Bailey Yuyan nodded and smiled viciously. "Haoshuan, don't worry. I'll avenge you. No matter if it's for you or for myself. This time, they must kill Bailey Hongzhuang." For this reason, they had made ample preparations. As long as Bailey Hongzhuang arrived, they would definitely die. Under the burning gazes of the crowd, Bailey Hongzhuang calmly walked into the group. Whether it was her or Di Beichen, they did not have much contact with the officials in the court. Aside from the people who were here to watch the show, there were also her enemies. She didn't need to care about them at all. Bailey Hongzhuang, why didn't Prince Qin, who is always protecting you, come? Bailey Yuyan asked aloud. Don't tell me he doesn't dare to come because he knows that his legs are disabled? As soon as she said this, everyone looked at Bailey Yuyan and Bailey Hongzhuang. The conflict between the two sisters had never stopped. As expected, Bailey Yuyan took the initiative to stir up trouble as soon as they met. They were also very confused. Logically speaking, Di Beichen should have come with Bailey Hongzhuang today. Why was there only Bailey Hongzhuang? Chapter 124. These simple words poked at Bailey Yuyan's sore spot. Even now, the scar on her face hadn't healed at all. But as time passed, she gradually got used to it. But Bailey Hongzhuang's words were too impolite. Bailey Hongzhuang, what does it have to do with you whether I come out to scare people or not? Bailey Yuyan couldn't hide her anger. This woman's words were enough to make her angry half to death. What does it have to do with you whether Di Beichen comes or not? Bailey Hongzhuang sneered. With your appearance, my prince won't like you, so don't even think about it. Hearing Bailey Hongzhuang's words, everyone's gaze towards Bailey Yuyan couldn't help changing. Could it be that Bailey Yuyan also had thoughts towards Di Beichen? Previously, Xianyuan Huan was Bailey Hongzhuang's fiancé, so Bailey Yuyan stole Xianyuan Huan. Now that Bailey Hongzhuang was married to Di Beichen, Bailey Yuyan wanted to steal Di Beichen? Seeing everyone's disdainful gaze, Bailey Hongzhuang's expression suddenly changed. I don't have any thoughts towards Di Beichen. Then why are you asking? Bailey Hongzhuang's expression was indifferent. From beginning to end, she had played it down. But Bailey Yuyan's stomping made people suspicious. Everyone looked at each other. This Bailey Yuyan really wasn't Bailey Hongzhuang's opponent. She was the one who provoked Bailey Hongzhuang, but Bailey Hongzhuang mocked her instead. Bailey Yuyan was like an ugly duckling, while Bailey Hongzhuang was the real aristocrat. Feeling the crowd's gaze gradually changing, Bailey Yuyan's expression was very ugly. She had always wanted to get back at Bailey Hongzhuang, but it seemed that she didn't get any benefits every time. Elder sister, why waste your breath on her? She's going to embarrass herself in a while. Bailey Haoxuan saw Bailey Yuyan's awkward situation and immediately ridiculed her. Bailey Yuyan nodded slightly and turned her head away with a cold snort. She couldn't win against Bailey Hongzhuang in words, but she had plenty of means to make Bailey Hongzhuang kowtow and beg for mercy during the hunting competition. Bailey Hongzhuang's smile didn't change. She looked at Bailey Haoxuan with disdain. What right does a defeated person have to talk nonsense? As soon as he said this, Bailey Haoxuan's expression instantly turned extremely ugly. This matter was a pain in his heart. Since he was young, he had never put Bailey Hongzhuang in his eyes. This trash was a dead end if she fell into his hands. However, this time he was defeated by Bailey Hongzhuang. He couldn't even defeat a trash. Didn't this mean that he was even more useless than a trash? Bailey Hongzhuang, last time you were just opportunistic. This time you will definitely die a horrible death. Bailey Haoxuan gritted his teeth. He really regretted not killing Bailey Hongzhuang directly. Everyone looked at each other. This Bailey Hongzhuang and the people from the general's residence had completely fallen out. Even in front of so many people, she didn't have any scruples. Just as everyone was talking, the emperor, empress, and crown prince slowly walked over like stars surrounding the moon, diverting everyone's attention. When the emperor and empress sat down on the main stage, he smiled and said, "Today is the day of the royal hunting competition. I hope that the younger generation will perform well." In the Shengxian continent, cultivation was the mainstream. The juniors standing in front of him were very likely to be the cornerstones of the dynasty in the future. Therefore, he attached great importance to them. The young disciples present all revealed excited expressions. This was a hunting competition organized by the royal family. Chapter 125. The winner of today's royal hunting competition will receive a pet beast. In the next moment, Xianyuan Yutian's words were like a stone thrown into a calm lake, causing ripples to form in the water. The crowd couldn't help but widen their eyes as they looked at Xianyuan Yutian with excitement. A pet beast, that was the dream of every cultivator. In the Shengxian continent, there were some monsters that were captured by humans when they were young and contracted to become the most loyal companions of humans in the future. The human heart was unpredictable, and a pet beast was the most trustworthy. Different levels of pet beasts had different strengths, but pet beasts were precious and rare. Normal people couldn't have one, not even the children of officials. Because of this, when Xianyuan Yutian mentioned a pet beast, everyone's breathing quickened. Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes also changed a little. Every time the royal hunting competition started, the top 3 would be rewarded, but this was the first time such an expensive reward had been given out. She was very interested in this pet beast, so the first place would definitely be hers. Feeling the fiery gazes of the crowd, Xianyuan Yutian's smile widened. This was exactly the effect he wanted. The royal hunting competition this time was slightly different from the usual ones, so he needed to stimulate the potential of the younger generation. One had to know that there were others who were also paying attention to this royal hunting competition. Other than the first-place winner receiving a pet beast, the second-place winner will receive a bone-cleansing pill, and the third-place winner will receive a cloud lotus mushroom. Following Xianyuan Yutian's every word, the crowd's eyes became even more fiery. The rewards this time are exceptionally rich. The royal family has really put in a lot of effort this time. This is the first time I've seen such rich rewards. The cultivators participating in this royal hunting competition are really lucky. The crowd couldn't help but feel envious. They didn't know who would be able to get into the top 3 in this hunting competition. This kind of reward was really enviable. Bailey Yuyan couldn't hide the excitement on her face. She felt that this was a heaven-sent opportunity. Li Yuyue, who had always been her competitor, couldn't participate because she was beaten up. Although the other cultivators were quite strong, there was still a gap between them and her. Bailey Hongzhuang seemed to be able to cultivate now, but she was definitely not her opponent. In this way, apart from Xianyuan Huan, the second place would definitely fall into her hands. Although she was a little jealous of the pet beast that the champion would receive, she could accept it if Xianyuan Huan was the champion. Ever since Xianyuan Huan came to the hunting ground, his eyes had been fixed on Bailey Hongzhuang. After not seeing her for a while, Bailey Hongzhuang became more and more beautiful. Did she really like Di Beichen? Because she liked Di Beichen, she became more beautiful after she got married. Thinking of this, a kind of crazy displeasure and jealousy spread in Xianyuan Huan's heart. This was the woman he fancied, but she was snatched away by that waste Di Beichen. Master, that guy Xianyuan Huan seems to be staring at you. Xiaohei couldn't help but say. Bailey Hongzhuang chuckled. Let him be. It was hard not to notice such an undisguised gaze, but she no longer had any interest in Xianyuan Huan, so she let him be. Chapter 126. Xianyuan Yutian glanced at the younger generation present, and then fixed his gaze on Li Chengqian with some confusion. Prime Minister Li, why don't I see Li Yuyue? As the future crown princess, if Li Yuyue could perform well in this royal hunting competition, she would be praised even more. When Xianyuan Yutian said those words, everyone's expression turned into one of anticipation. This was the most sensitive time, and Li Chengqian had been holding back his anger to teach Bailey Hongzhuang and Di Beichen a lesson for a long time. Since the emperor asked, he could take the opportunity to make things difficult for them. Sure enough, Li Chengqian's face was instantly filled with anger, and the anger in his eyes was so strong that he wanted to burn Bailey Hongzhuang to ashes. You should ask Princess Chern about this, Li Chengqian said coldly. Hearing this, Xianyuan Yutian looked at Bailey Hongzhuang in surprise. He had heard about the conflict between Bailey Hongzhuang and Li Yue at Nikhang Market. Did something happen again? Prime Minister Li, speak clearly. I don't understand what you mean by this. Bailey Hongzhuang looked indifferent. Even if she knew that Li Chengqian would take the opportunity to make things difficult, she didn't care at all. Seeing Bailey Hongzhuang's attitude, the hatred in Li Chengqian's eyes grew. Your Majesty, the current Prince Chen and Princess Chen are simply arrogant. Yesterday, Prince Chen's subordinates actually injured Yue. It's not that Yue doesn't want to participate in the royal hunting competition, but her injuries are very serious, so she can't participate. The more Li Chengqian spoke, the more agitated he became. Your Majesty, you must seek justice for Yue. After hearing this, Xianyuan Yutian and Jiang Jinying's expressions changed. From Li Chengqian's attitude, they knew that this was true, but why did Di Beichen, who had been enduring silently all this time, suddenly change his attitude? They knew Di Beichen's original identity, but in these 3 years, Di Beichen had been keeping a low profile. They also felt that Di Beichen had no hope of returning, so they didn't care about Di Beichen's attitude. Di Beichen suddenly changed his attitude at this moment. Was it because he wanted to protect Bailey Hongzhuang? Or did he have the ability to return? Thinking of the latter possibility, Xianyuan Yutian and Jiang Jinying were shocked. If this was the case, then Di Beichen was really amazing. Princess Chen, is this matter really like what Prime Minister Li said? Xianyuan Yutian asked calmly. Li Chengqian had an extraordinary status in Fengbo country, and he would be the future father-in-law, but Bailey Hongzhuang was Di Beichen's wife, and her identity was also not simple. Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes were filled with sarcasm, and she asked back. Prime Minister Li avoided the important and dwell on the trivial. Why don't you say why you came to Prince Chen's mansion? Hearing this, everyone couldn't help but look at Li Chengqian curiously. Until now, they were very curious about why Li Chengqian brought Li Yue to Prince Chen's mansion. It was really strange. Li Chengqian's expression changed a little. He had been looking for a reason why Li Yue couldn't participate in the royal hunting competition. Although Li Yue's injury yesterday made him feel ashamed and angry, he just happened to find an excellent reason. He didn't know how this matter had spread to so many people's ears, but since he couldn't hide it, he might as well say it. Chapter 127. A few days ago, Yue and Princess Chen had some conflicts, so I took Yue to Prince Chen's mansion to resolve the grudge. I didn't expect Princess Chen to speak rudely, and Prince Chen even sent people to hurt Yue. Prince Chen and Princess Chen's behavior is too much. Li Chengqian said these words with a strong sense of righteousness, as if Bailey Hongzhuang and Di Beichen had done something disgraceful. Faced with Li Chengqian's accusation, Bailey Hongzhuang's smile widened a little, but her eyes became more disdainful. Prime Minister Li, don't you feel embarrassed saying these words? I'm telling the truth, why should I be embarrassed? Li Chengqian said bluntly. Bailey Hongzhuang glanced at the crowd. Prime Minister Li, why don't you ask everyone, does anyone believe your words? Everyone lowered their heads. In fact, they didn't believe Li Chengqian's words at all. With Li Chengqian and Li Yue's temperament, it was already good enough that they didn't let Di Beichen and Bailey Hongzhuang kowtow and apologize. How could they go to resolve the conflict in person? Looking at everyone's appearance, Li Chengqian's expression was very ugly. What do you mean by this? Justice is in people's hearts. Bailey Hongzhuang raised her eyebrows. Since you brought this matter up, I don't mind telling the truth. Your Majesty, after Prime Minister Li and Li Yue came to Prince Chen's mansion yesterday, they kept speaking rudely. They arrogantly asked me to help treat the illness, and then mocked Prince Chen for being your illegitimate son. It was because of this that Prince Chen sent people to attack them in anger. As Bailey Hongzhuang's voice fell, everyone sucked in a breath of cold air, looking at Bailey Hongzhuang in shock. For a long time, the news that Di Beichen was Xianyuan Yutian's illegitimate son had been secretly spread. Although Xianyuan Yutian had heard it before, no one dared to say it out loud. Now Bailey Hongzhuang actually said it out loud? Xianyuan Yutian couldn't help but frown. Is this true? Your Majesty, you can't listen to her nonsense. Li Chengxian hurriedly defended himself. If this was confirmed, then his position would be in jeopardy. Bailey Hongzhuang is just trying to shirk responsibility. Your Majesty, please understand. Your Majesty, when Li Yue's face fell, Prime Minister Li had been hiding the news. Today, he just wanted to continue to hide it, so he pushed the blame to me. As long as Your Majesty goes to the Prime Minister's residence, you will know. Bailey Hongzhuang remained calm. She had already predicted that something like this would happen after yesterday's incident. Li Chengxian had a high status and would definitely push all the blame onto her. However, other than the Emperor and Empress, no one knew Di Beiqian's true identity. Therefore, with the rise of Di Beiqian, Li Chengxian's status couldn't be compared to his. Seeing that Bailey Hongzhuang's words were reasonable, everyone leaned towards Bailey Hongzhuang. After all, Li Yue hadn't appeared in front of everyone these days, so it was too suspicious. Li Chengxian's expression instantly became unsightly. According to his thoughts, the Emperor wouldn't listen to Bailey Hongzhuang's explanation. However, the situation was completely different from what he had imagined. Your Majesty, Li Chengxian still wanted to defend himself. If the Emperor really sent someone to the Prime Minister's residence, then this secret could no longer be concealed. Chapter 128. At this moment, Xianyuan Yutian's mind wasn't on this matter at all. He only wanted to understand the reason behind Di Beiqian's sudden change in style. Before he understood this, he couldn't make a decision. Seeing Xianyuan Yutian's attitude, Li Chengxian didn't dare to say anything. He had a vague feeling that Li Yue's dream of being the crown princess was over. Bailey Yuyan's eyes shone with excitement. Whether it was the final defeat of Bailey Hongzhuang or Li Yue, she was willing to see it. She had really made a good move. In this way, the Prime Minister's estate and Prince Chen's estate would become enemies. She had really gotten rid of an enemy without any effort. Suddenly, Bailey Yuyan noticed that Bailey Hongzhuang was looking at her with a smile. That pair of pitch-black eyes seemed to be able to see through people's hearts, making her feel that she had nowhere to hide her thoughts. She knew. From Bailey Hongzhuang's gaze, Bailey Yuyan understood that Bailey Hongzhuang already knew that she was the one who did it. How was this possible? Bailey Hongzhuang was bewildered, but she quickly calmed down. Even if Bailey Hongzhuang knew that she was the one who did it, so what? In the next moment, Bailey Hongzhuang's mouth was full of smiles. She slowly raised her right hand, and when no one was paying attention, she made a throat-slitting gesture towards Bailey Yuyan. Bailey Yuyan's heart trembled, and an unknown chill surged into her heart. When she looked over again, Bailey Hongzhuang's attention was no longer on her. Next, I will announce the rules of this royal hunting competition. There is a gale wolf in Mt. Luoxia. Whoever can kill the gale wolf and take back its demon crystal will get first place. In addition, there are many demonic beasts in Mt. Luoxia. The second and third place will be judged based on the number of demonic beasts killed. Hearing the name of the gale wolf, the faces of the younger generation of participants all changed. The gale wolf's strength was equivalent to that of a late-stage mysterious earth realm cultivator. However, it was agile and excelled in speed. Its speed was comparable to that of a gale, hence its name. It was for this reason that even though he was only at the late-stage mystic earth realm in name, it was actually very difficult for a late-stage mystic earth realm cultivator to defeat him. The rewards of this hunting competition were unprecedentedly rich, but the difficulty of getting first place was also very high. The royal hunting competition has officially begun. With a wave of Xianyuan Yutian's hand, the royal hunting competition began. All the participants of the younger generation shivered. Today was the stage for them to display their strength. After exchanging a few words with the elders in their families, they finally chose a good horse from the horse farm and entered the hunting grounds. "Father, I will definitely work hard," Bailey Yuyan said with a serious expression. To her, this was already her last chance. If she couldn't perform well, then she would never be able to make a name for herself in the future. Bailey Jintao slightly nodded his head. He originally hoped that Bailey Haoxuan and Bailey Yuyan would be able to perform well in the royal hunting competition. But now, he could only rely on Bailey Yuyan. During this period of time, the general's estate had been facing endless problems. If Bailey Yuyan could get into the top 3, then the general's estate would be able to reduce some of the negative effect. Perform well. Bailey Jintao patted Bailey Yuyan's shoulder with a gratified smile on his face. Chapter 129. Among the younger generation present, there weren't many who could contend with Bailey Yuyan, so it wouldn't be difficult for her to get into the top 3. As he said that, Bailey Jintao's gaze couldn't help but fall onto Bailey Hongzhuang. Ever since Bailey Hongzhuang received his fist, he knew that Bailey Hongzhuang could already cultivate, and her cultivation wasn't weak at all. However, it was only a single exchange of fists, so he couldn't be sure of Bailey Hongzhuang's strength. Bailey Hongzhuang chose a black steed, and with a flip, she sat firmly on the horse's back and urged the horse into the hunting grounds. When everyone saw that Bailey Hongzhuang was the first to enter the hunting grounds, their eyes were filled with astonishment. Isn't Princess Chen unable to cultivate? She actually dares to enter the hunting grounds alone. If she were to encounter a demonic beast, wouldn't she die without a complete corpse? Demonic beasts had always been cruel, and every time the royal hunting grounds were held, there would always be casualties. Thus, those without a certain level of strength wouldn't dare to enter. Bailey Hongzhuang was the infamous trash in the imperial city. Now that she had entered the hunting grounds alone, wasn't that the same as seeking death? Your news is outdated. Previously at Godly Physician Square, Princess Chen had defeated Bailey Haoxuan. Bailey Haoxuan is a genuine mysterious earth middle stage cultivator. That's not right? I heard from the general's estate that Princess Chen had used some other method to defeat Bailey Haoxuan. If she could cultivate, why would she bear the title of trash for so many years? Hearing this person's words, everyone started to feel uncertain. In reality, they had only heard rumors, and didn't know Bailey Hongzhuang's true situation. In my opinion, Princess Chen must have used some tricks to win, otherwise why would General Bailey treat Bailey Hongzhuang as a disgrace? Everyone nodded. Some of them couldn't help but sympathize with Bailey Hongzhuang. Di Beichen didn't participate in this hunting competition, and Bailey Hongzhuang was a trash who couldn't cultivate. How could she have a good ending when she met Bailey Yuyan? In the hunting ground, life and death were up to fate. Anything could happen. With Bailey Yuyan's hatred for Bailey Hongzhuang, there was nothing Di Beichen could do if she found a place where no one was looking and killed Bailey Hongzhuang. Sister, you must succeed, Bailey Haoxuan said. Bailey Yuyan looked at Bailey Haoxuan and then at Su Wanjing. She nodded and said, "Don't worry, I will definitely solve everything perfectly." After saying that, Bailey Yuyan urged her horse to rush into the hunting ground. She had to find Bailey Hongzhuang to solve the problem. In the 3 days of the hunting competition, all the participating cultivators would spend their time in the hunting ground. They would only return on the last day. During this time, there would be imperial guards who would inform everyone about what happened in the hunting ground, so that everyone could understand the situation immediately. Xianyuan Yutian immediately sent people to inquire about Di Beichen. He needed to know if there was a deeper meaning behind Di Beichen's actions. Hunting ground. Towering trees could be seen everywhere. The sun shone through the gaps in the trees. Bailey Hongzhuang walked in the mountain range. The surroundings were silent, and only the sound of horse hooves could be heard. Master, I can feel that there are some hidden gazes observing us from the mountain range. Xiao Bai's voice became more serious. These people are very strong. Chapter 130. The black and white furballs were talented in cultivation, and they had been cultivating in the Chaos Ring for so many years. Both their strength and spiritual power were very strong. At the very least, She was no match for the two of them now. It was just that she wanted to increase her strength as soon as possible, so she had never let the black and white furballs fight. She believed in Xiao Bai's judgment without a doubt. The royal hunting competition this time is very different from the previous ones. Bailey Hongzhuang's black eyes were filled with thoughts. Just the rewards alone are far from what the previous ones could compare to. There must be something wrong if things were out of the ordinary. If there wasn't something fishy, the royal family wouldn't have put in so much effort. These people are probably just observing the situation of the hunting competition. They won't be in danger. Xiao He said slowly. It could sense that these gazes were only probing and not targeting, so it was impossible that they were targeting anyone. They just wanted to know more about Bailey Hongzhuang and the others' performance in the hunting competition. Hearing this, Bailey Hongzhuang nodded slightly. It doesn't matter what their goal is. As long as I get what I want, that's enough. As for the rest, she didn't care. The Gale Wolf is indeed a big test for the cultivators participating in this competition. Xiao He smiled faintly. If some cultivators who weren't strong enough encountered the Gale Wolf, they might lose their lives. However, with Bailey Hongzhuang's strength, she didn't need to worry about these problems. Bailey Hongzhuang's lips curled into a faint smile. The Gale Wolf isn't necessarily troublesome. The people are the most troublesome. Xianyuan Yutian had made it very clear. Whoever could take back the Gale Wolf's demon crystal would be the winner. As for who killed the Gale Wolf, that wasn't the most important thing. The most important thing was that whoever took the Gale Wolf's demon crystal and successfully appeared in front of Xianyuan Yutian. She was almost certain that most of the cultivators participating in the competition didn't think about killing the Gale Wolf. They were only thinking about how to deal with the cultivator who killed the Gale Wolf. Xiao He and Xiao Bai remained silent. They were well aware of this. Most of the other cultivators had their own groups, and it was rare to see a lone cultivator like Bailey Hongzhuang. Master, what do you plan to do? Xiao He could not help but ask. Bailey Hongzhuang smiled. Let nature take its course. Bailey Hongzhuang's posture was free and easy as the horse galloped through the mountains, but her eyes were constantly paying attention to the changes in the surroundings. This was the outer region of the Sunset Mountain, and the chances of demonic beasts appearing were low. As they went deeper into the mountain, the chances of demonic beasts appearing became higher and higher. Time passed slowly. Bailey Hongzhuang's luck was quite good. After walking for a long time, she did not encounter any demonic beast. Master, someone is following us. Xiao He's voice suddenly rang out. Bailey Hongzhuang's expression was the same as usual. Her beautiful and refined face rippled with a smile. Bailey Yuyan really can't wait. Let her continue to follow us. Bailey Yuyan's tracking skills were really not that good. She had already noticed it. This woman probably couldn't wait to find a secluded place to kill her. Bailey Hongzhuang's red lips slightly curved. The curve of her mouth had a trace of slyness and coldness. Since Bailey Yuyan couldn't wait, then she would find a good place for Bailey Yuyan. Chapter 131. Bailey Yuyan carefully followed behind Bailey Hongzhuang. She had already abandoned the horse, otherwise, the trampling sound might alert Bailey Hongzhuang. She had always wanted to find an opportunity to kill Bailey Hongzhuang, but Prince Chen's mansion was heavily guarded, so she had no idea where to start. The royal hunting competition was an opportunity she had been looking forward to for a long time. Here, she would definitely be able to kill Bailey Hongzhuang without anyone noticing. Following Bailey Hongzhuang all the way, Bailey Yuyan found that the place where Bailey Hongzhuang was going was getting more and more remote, and there were no cultivators around. A ferocious smile appeared on her face, which was covered with fine scars. Even God was helping her. Hearing the approaching footsteps, Bailey Hongzhuang's smile became more and more sarcastic. Originally, she did not intend to kill Bailey Yuyan at the royal hunting competition, but now seemed to be a good time. Xiao He and Xiao Bai looked at Bailey Yuyan, who was swaggering over, with interest in their eyes. This was going to be a good show. Bailey Hongzhuang, now that you're here, I'd like to see who can protect you. Bailey Yuyan's face was filled with arrogance. At this point, there was no need for her to hide anything. Thinking of how Bailey Hongzhuang would kowtow to her and beg for mercy later, she could not help but feel excited. Bailey Hongzhuang slowly turned around, with a faint sneer on her delicate and beautiful face. I, Bailey Hongzhuang, have never needed anyone to protect me. Looking at Bailey Hongzhuang's indifferent look, Bailey Yuyan's expression froze for a moment, and she could not help but look around. Was there someone else nearby? However, no matter how she looked, she could not find anyone nearby. Bailey Hongzhuang, at this moment, you still dare to boast shamelessly. You're really stubborn. After confirming that there was no third party around, Bailey Yuyan was completely relieved. With her strength, she could easily kill Bailey Hongzhuang. Bailey Hongzhuang crossed her arms in front of her chest, with a faint smile on her lips. You still only know how to say useless nonsense as usual. As soon as she finished speaking, Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes turned cold. She had no time to waste on Bailey Yuyan. You're here to kill me. Make your move. Bailey Yuyan was stunned. The situation in front of her gave her a very unreal feeling. Logically speaking, Bailey Hongzhuang, she should be panicked when she met, and only wanted to stall time. Why did she have the illusion that their identities had been switched? Since you want to die, I'll grant you your wish. Bailey Yuyan scoffed coldly as the yuan power within her body began to surge. Bailey Hongzhuang would not shed tears until she saw the coffin. She would show Bailey Hongzhuang her power first. The aura of the mysterious Ian initial stage exploded in an instant. Bailey Yuyan's eyes sparkled with excitement. Over the past few days, she had given her all in her cultivation. Even her mother had given her everything to support her. It was because of this that she had been able to successfully break through to the mysterious Ian stage. She had not revealed this news to anyone else aside from the general's household. She wanted to shine brightly in this royal hunting competition. You're very lucky to be the first to witness the power of a mysterious Ian initial stage cultivator. Bailey Yuyan's pretty face was filled with complacency. A mysterious Ian initial stage cultivator and a mysterious Earth advanced stage cultivator were completely different in power. Bailey Hongzhuang was definitely no match for her. You're crazy. Chapter 132. She had already predicted that Bailey Yuyan might have broken through to the early stage of the mysterious Ian realm. After all, the general's estate's foundation wasn't bad. Bailey Jintao had placed all his hopes on Bailey Yuyan, so he was naturally willing to invest in her. What did you say? Bailey Yuyan raised her voice. Bailey Hongzhuang actually said that she was sick? Bailey Hongzhuang casually shrugged her shoulders. Didn't you just break through? Is there a need to be so proud? Bailey Yuyan's delicate body trembled. Bailey Hongzhuang's reaction was completely out of her expectations. Why wasn't she afraid when she heard this news? Bailey Yuyan was so angry that her chest heaved up and down. Wait until I beat you until you're looking for your teeth on the ground. Let's see if you can still be so arrogant. With just you? Bailey Hongzhuang slightly raised her chin, her eyes full of disdain. She raised a finger and shook it. Not worthy. Bailey Yuyan's anger surged. She wanted to first beat Bailey Hongzhuang to the ground and then laugh at her to her heart's content. Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes narrowed, and the energy in her body surged. She wanted to take revenge for the dead Bailey Hongzhuang. However, at this moment, Bailey Hongzhuang suddenly noticed a figure approaching from not far away. Master, the person who came is Xianyuan Huan. Xiao He spoke up. Hearing this, Bailey Hongzhuang wrinkled her brows. She didn't expect Xianyuan Huan to appear at this time. After Xianyuan Huan entered the hunting grounds, he had been looking for Bailey Hongzhuang's figure. However, he came in a little late and in the blink of an eye, Bailey Hongzhuang's trace disappeared. He didn't know why he was looking for Bailey Hongzhuang. Perhaps it was because he was unwilling to give up and wanted to know how Bailey Hongzhuang was doing. Suddenly, A voice from the front caught Xianyuan Huan's attention. This voice was not unfamiliar to him, it was from Bailey Yuyan. Bailey Yuyan, what are you doing? Xianyuan Huan shouted. He actually saw Bailey Yuyan preparing to kill Bailey Hongzhuang. Bailey Yuyan was just about to deal a fatal blow to Bailey Hongzhuang when she suddenly heard the sound behind her. She couldn't help but be startled, and her punch also deviated from its original trajectory. Bailey Yuyan's face turned red because she had used the wrong amount of strength. She suffered some backlash. Xianyuan Huan immediately came in front of Bailey Hongzhuang and Bailey Yuyan. Bailey Yuyan turned her head, a touch of panic on her face. Your Highness, you. Bailey Yuyan, at this time, you still want to kill your own sister. You really have a heart of a snake. Xianyuan Huan reprimanded. Bailey Yuyan's face turned pale. She didn't expect Xianyuan Huan to reprimand her so mercilessly. And all of this was because of Bailey Hongzhuang. Bailey Yuyan looked at Bailey Hongzhuang with resentment. You planned all of this. She was wondering how Bailey Hongzhuang could be so calm in front of her. It turned out that she had planned all of this for Xianyuan Huan to see. Bailey Hongzhuang was speechless. Bailey Yuyan's imagination was really good. It had always been Bailey Yuyan following her. How could she have planned this scene? Xianyuan Huan's appearance not only ruined Bailey Yuyan's plan, but also ruined her own. Think what you want, Bailey Hongzhuang said indifferently. Xianyuan Huan also looked at Bailey Hongzhuang, his voice low. Are you okay? Chapter 133. At that time, although Xianyuan Huan didn't really do anything to her, but Bailey Hongzhuang's death was also related to Xianyuan Huan. Hearing the sarcasm in Bailey Hongzhuang's words, Xianyuan Huan was a little embarrassed. At that time, he humiliated Bailey Hongzhuang in every possible way, not much better than what he did to Bailey Yuyan. Now that he cared about her, it was a bit ridiculous. Your Highness, the scene just now is not what you think, Bailey Yuyan hurriedly explained. Even if she knew that it was almost impossible for her to be with Xianyuan Huan now, she still loved him. Xianyuan Huan frowned. I saw everything clearly, what are you still trying to explain? It's not like that. Bailey Yuyan kept quibbling, grabbing Xianyuan Huan's arm with both hands. She just didn't want Xianyuan Huan to hate her. Master, the nearby cultivators are gradually approaching, Xiao Bai helplessly said. It thought that it could watch Master teach Bailey Yuyan a lesson, but now it seems that it can't do anything. Bailey Hongzhuang restrained the cold light in her eyes. The movement here was too big, it was inevitable that other cultivators would be attracted. At this time, it was not suitable to make a move, so it was better to leave first. Sigh, what a pity, we missed a good opportunity. Xiao He sighed. It had long wanted to teach Bailey Yuyan a lesson. Bailey Hongzhuang smiled faintly. 3 days, there will be plenty of opportunities. Not to mention that she was going to find Bailey Yuyan, just Bailey Yuyan would find a way to find her. Dealing with Bailey Yuyan was just a matter of time. In the next moment, Bailey Hongzhuang turned around and walked away without hesitation. Let Bailey Yuyan and Xianyuan Huan be the topic of discussion, she didn't want to have anything to do with these two guys. Seeing Bailey Hongzhuang turn to leave, Xianyuan Huan immediately wanted to chase after her, but Bailey Yuyan still firmly pulled Xianyuan Huan's sleeve. She couldn't let Xianyuan Huan leave like this, otherwise she wouldn't even have the chance to explain in the future. Xianyuan Huan's eyes were full of helplessness. He wanted to flick his sleeves and shake off Bailey Yuyan, but the cultivators behind him gradually made him have to care about his image. He could only let Bailey Hongzhuang walk further and further away. After shaking off the two of them, Bailey Hongzhuang continued to walk deeper into Luoxia Mountain. However, she changed her mind. She didn't want to be caught by Xianyuan Huan. Roar. Suddenly, the roar of a demonic beast attracted Bailey Hongzhuang's attention. A serious expression appeared on her pretty face. There were demonic beasts nearby. Boom. Immediately after, Bailey Hongzhuang saw a fiery red light rush towards her like lightning. With a thought, Bailey Hongzhuang shifted her feet and her figure quickly disappeared from where she was and reappeared not far away. The demonic beast obviously didn't think that Bailey Hongzhuang would be able to escape from its attack. It immediately looked at Bailey Hongzhuang again. With this look, Bailey Hongzhuang recognized that the demonic beast that attacked her was a mysterious Earth middle-stage demonic beast, Flame Fox. Flame Fox's entire body was crimson red like flames. Wherever it passed, the temperature would rise. It was good at speed and sneak attacks. It was aggressive and liked to take the initiative to attack cultivators. A long sword appeared in Bailey Hongzhuang's hand, and her dark eyes were filled with a cold light. The flame fox bared its fangs and looked at Bailey Hongzhuang with a ferocious expression. It seemed to be dissatisfied that it didn't succeed before and immediately rushed over again. Chapter 134. A silver light flashed past, and the sound of something falling was heard. Bang! The fire civet that was bearing its fangs earlier had been beheaded, and it no longer looked as ferocious as before. Bailey Hongzhuang calmly looked at the fire civet that she had beheaded. With a stroke of her long sword, she directly took out the demon crystal from the fire civet's body. With her current strength, the fire civet was no threat to her at all. Along the way, Bailey Hongzhuang encountered many demonic beasts. However, once she attacked, she quickly, ruthlessly, and accurately dealt with the demonic beast. The Luoxia Mountain was used by the royal family as a hunting ground all year round. The demonic beasts inside were mostly similar in strength to cultivators. Otherwise, the royal family would suffer heavy losses inside. This was not a result that the royal family wanted to see. Night enveloped the land, and the Luoxia Mountain was especially restless at night. Demonic beasts had always liked to move around at night. When one was in the mountain range, one could hear the endless roars of demonic beasts. "Master, it's getting late. Let's find a place to rest," Xiao He suggested. Bailey Hongzhuang nodded slightly. "I'm looking for a safer place to rest." It was not possible to rest at any place in the mountain range at night. One had to avoid the areas where demonic beasts were active. Otherwise, it would not be easy to have a good rest. She was very experienced in living in the mountain range. In the past, she would often train in the mountain range. She was very clear about the best place to rest. Xiao He and Xiao Bai were puzzled. They did not know how to determine the safest place to rest. In the darkness, a white figure quickly shuttled back and forth like a ghost. After an hour, Bailey Hongzhuang finally found a place that she was satisfied with. She immediately leaned against a tree and rested. Xiao He and Xiao Bai consciously played the role of guards. They looked at Bailey Hongzhuang curiously. "Master, why didn't you start a fire?" In such a dark night, it was more comfortable to start a fire. The other cultivators had already started a fire, but they realized that Bailey Hongzhuang did not plan to start a fire at all. Bailey Hongzhuang chuckled. "Many low-level demonic beasts are very sensitive to fire. If I start a fire, it will easily attract the demonic beast." Experienced cultivators wouldn't choose to start a fire because it would directly expose their location. Even if the demonic beasts did not go, it could attract other cultivators. It was not a small hidden danger. Listening to Bailey Hongzhuang's words, the doubt in Little Black and Little White's eyes turned into worship. Master was truly amazing. Bailey Hongzhuang closed her eyes and entered a state of cultivation. The spiritual energy in the mountains was much richer, which was very beneficial for cultivation. When the cultivators were resting in Luoxia mountain range, they did not know that their performance had been seen by others. "I heard that this Bailey Hongzhuang is a well-known piece of trash in the imperial city. Now it seems that her aptitude is much better than the others." A middle-aged man dressed in black had admiration in his eyes. His gaze landed on Bailey Hongzhuang, who was cultivating. Previously, Bailey Yuyan wanted to make a move on Bailey Hongzhuang but was interrupted. I think it was Bailey Hongzhuang who wanted to make a move but was interrupted. Fu Hongbo smiled faintly. Lu Huayan nodded. The others have already started to form teams to rest. This girl is determined to be alone. Chapter 135. Only by finding teammates to support each other and taking turns to guard the night could they have a good rest. Almost every contestant was like this, except for Bailey Hongzhuang. This girl, I like her. Fu Hongbao's lips curled into a faint smile. These days, other than ordinary rogue cultivators, it's not easy to find such a determined girl in the royal family's hunting competition. Hearing this, Lu Huaiyan's eyes were filled with approval. Nowadays, there are fewer and fewer good seedlings among the officials. I still prefer to find ordinary disciples with some aptitude. However, this royal family's hunting competition isn't that boring. Save me! Is there anyone? Save me! A panicked cry for help came from not far away, filled with extreme fear and terror. Bailey Hongzhuang opened her eyes and looked in the direction of the voice, then walked over without saying a word. Xiao He and Xiao Bai looked at each other. With Master's character of never doing business at a loss, it was impossible for him to help someone for no reason. As Bailey Hongzhuang gradually approached, the faint flames were especially conspicuous in the dark night. As expected, Bailey Hongzhuang's expression was indifferent. Before she came, she had already guessed that the other party must have attracted the demonic beasts because of the flames. In her line of sight, she saw a man and a woman being surrounded by 4 flame raccoons. Flame raccoons were especially sensitive to flames. As long as there were flames, they would be attracted. However, she didn't expect that there would be so many flame raccoons in the Sunset Mountain. This man and woman were both in the middle stage of the mysterious Earth realm, similar to the flame raccoons. However, there were more flame raccoons than them. Coupled with the fact that they were panicking, their fighting strength decreased. In a short period of time, there were already many wounds on their bodies. Xiao Zifan and Zhao Yunxi were extremely afraid. They didn't expect that they would suddenly attract so many flame raccoons. The two of them weren't a match at all. If this continued, they would die here sooner or later. However, no matter how much they called for help, no one came. The two of them gradually lost hope. Over the years, there was no lack of cultivators who died in the royal family's hunting competition. This year, the two of them were afraid that they would become one of them. At this moment, Xiao Zifan suddenly noticed a movement in front of them. A white figure appeared in front of them, and he was ecstatic. "Miss, please help us. We will be eternally grateful." Their cultivations were on par with the flame raccoons. It was only because the flame raccoons outnumbered them that the situation was one-sided. As long as this woman could join them, the situation would change. However, Bailey Hongzhuang did not even look at them. She turned around and walked away. Her clear and bright eyes revealed a trace of disappointment. She thought that the gale wolves had appeared, but she didn't expect that just 4 flame foxes would make the other party make such a fuss. The moment Bailey Hongzhuang turned around, Zhao Yunxi recognized Bailey Hongzhuang. The anticipation on Zhao Yunxi's face quickly disappeared. At this moment, if it was anyone else, they would be able to change the ending. Only Bailey Hongzhuang could not. Who didn't know that Bailey Hongzhuang was a trash who couldn't cultivate? She was courting death by coming here. "Miss." Seeing that Bailey Hongzhuang ignored his pleas and left, Xiao Zifan couldn't help but call out again. Chapter 136. When he heard the words Bailey Hongzhuang, Xiao Zifan's face turned ugly. He had finally seen a glimmer of hope in this life and death situation. He never thought that it would be Bailey Hongzhuang who would be of no help. When the flame raccoons saw Bailey Hongzhuang appear, they treated her as a target as well. One of the flame raccoons immediately charged towards Bailey Hongzhuang. "Chen Wangfei, be careful," Xiao Zifan hurriedly warned. He was doomed today. Although he wasn't familiar with Bailey Hongzhuang, he didn't want to see Bailey Hongzhuang lose her life because of this. Sensing the flame raccoons charging at her from behind, a cold light gathered in Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes. She drew her long sword as fast as lightning. A silvery white light flashed, and Bailey Hongzhuang had already retracted her sword. On the ground, the flame raccoons were no longer breathing. Seeing this, Xiao Zifen and Zhao Yunxi were stunned. Their eyes widened as they couldn't believe what they had just seen. That was a mysterious Earth middle stage flame raccoon. Bailey Hongzhuang had only used one move to finish off the flame raccoon? The two of them didn't even see how Bailey Hongzhuang had made her move, and it was all over. Gulp. Xiao Zifen swallowed a mouthful of saliva. So Bailey Hongzhuang was actually this strong. If she wasn't still being attacked by the flame raccoons, Zhao Yunxi would have rubbed her eyes to make sure that she wasn't seeing things. When the flame raccoons saw that their companion had been killed by Bailey Hongzhuang, they all charged towards Bailey Hongzhuang. Bailey Hongzhuang's expression was calm. Her long sword danced and flashed. Every move was a fatal one. Bang bang bang! The three flame raccoons fell to the ground once again. From the beginning to the end, Bailey Hongzhuang was extremely calm. It was as if she hadn't killed a mid-stage mysterious Earth Realm flame civet, but an ordinary cat. Bailey Hongzhuang swung her sword again. She skillfully took out the demon crystal of the flame fox. This thing was also quite useful. Xiao Zifen and Zhao Yunxi looked at each other and slowly walked towards Bailey Hongzhuang. Thank you, Qin Wangfei, for your help. Xiao Zifen cupped his fists in gratitude. Bailey Hongzhuang glanced at the two indifferently. She did not have any impression of them. In fact, she only knew Bailey Yuyan and Xianyuan Huan among the contestants. No need. You should thank yourself. Bailey Hongzhuang turned around and leisurely walked back to rest. Originally, she didn't intend to make a move, but after hearing Xiao Zifen's warning, she decided to make a move. At least, Xiao Zifen's heart was kind. She was willing to do a small favor. Seeing Bailey Hongzhuang's indifferent appearance, Xiao Zifen didn't find it strange. He shouted at the former's departing figure, "No matter what, thank you for saving us. Don't light a fire at night." Bailey Hongzhuang's figure disappeared into the forest. A cool breeze sent over a warm sentence. Xiao Zifen's smile widened. Before, he didn't know much about Bailey Hongzhuang. Now, he only felt that Bailey Hongzhuang was a very good person. I didn't think that Bailey Hongzhuang's strength would be so strong. Zhao Yunxi said in a daze. She killed the flame fox in one hit. How strong is she? Xiao Zifen shook his head. He only knew that Bailey Hongzhuang's strength far surpassed theirs. However, he didn't know what her cultivation was. Chapter 137. Zhao Yunxi let out a sigh of relief. We're finally safe and sound. I still have to thank Bailey Hongzhuang. Xiao Zifen smiled and turned around to extinguish the bonfire. Bailey Hongzhuang's last words before she left were a reminder to them. The night quietly passed. As soon as the sun rose, Bailey Hongzhuang exited from her cultivation state. After a simple freshening up, she once again set out on her journey. Bailey Hongzhuang began to take the initiative to attack. Once she heard the movements of demonic beasts, she would go and investigate. She had to find the location of the storm wolf. After half a day, Bailey Hongzhuang still hadn't found the location of the storm wolf. However, she had obtained a lot of demonic crystals. Master, we haven't found the location of the storm wolf yet. Xiao Bai revealed a helpless expression. Although their spiritual powers' range was wide, there seemed to be something in the hunting ground that hindered their spiritual powers' detection, causing their range to be reduced. After their investigation, there was no trace of the storm wolf in the vicinity. Bailey Hongzhuang pursed her lips and smiled. The area of Luoxia Mountain isn't small. We've already explored a small area. The storm wolf should still be in front. We'll meet it sooner or later. Among the cultivators participating in this hunting competition, only Xianyuan Huan and Bailey Yuyan had the chance to kill the storm wolf. Once they took action, there would be a lot of noise. Even if they rushed over at that time, they would still be able to make it. Bailey Hongzhuang continued to walk forward. Suddenly, a figure appeared in front of her. When Yi Yidong saw that the person was Bailey Hongzhuang, her face couldn't help but reveal a trace of disappointment. Although there were a lot of demonic beasts in Luoxia Mountain, it would be troublesome to kill them. It would be better to rob other cultivators. It would save time and effort. After seeing that this woman was alone, she had the idea of robbing her. After all, with her mysterious earth late-stage cultivation, as long as she was careful, there was almost no chance of failure. However, she didn't expect this woman to be Bailey Hongzhuang. The excitement in her heart instantly disappeared. It was already a miracle that such a piece of trash could survive until now in the Sunset Mountain. What kind of demonic beast could he kill? Hand over all your demon crystals and money, and I'll let you go, Yitong said lazily. She was not interested in Bailey Hongzhuang at all. However, as the princess consort of Qin, she should be very wealthy. It would be good to rob her. Looking at the disdain on Yitong's face, Bailey Hongzhuang smiled seductively and asked, "Why?" "Why?" Yitong couldn't help but laugh. "Because I'm stronger than trash like you. Who do you think you are?" Bailey Hongzhuang's smile gradually turned cold. "How dare you talk nonsense in front of me?" Seeing Bailey Hongzhuang's reaction, Yitong's sneer deepened. It seemed that Bailey Hongzhuang still didn't understand the situation. "Don't tell me you're still putting on airs as Princess Qin? This is the hunting ground. Even if I kill you, as long as no one sees it, no one will know." Bailey Hongzhuang's smile became even more seductive. "Then we'll have to see if you have the ability." Yitong was speechless. Bailey Hongzhuang, this piece of trash, actually dared to mock her? How was she worthy? Chapter 138. Just then, another voice was heard. "Yitong, since I've seen you, I'll give you a share of the loot." Yitong was stunned. She turned to look at the young man in black robes who was slowly approaching her. A glint flashed across her eyes. Tian Weiming. Tian Weiming did not pay much attention to Yitong. Instead, his gaze was fixed on Bailey Hongzhuang. His smile was evil. "I didn't think that you would dare to lay your hands on Princess Consort Chen." Yitong did not mind Tian Weiming's mocking. "You're only here to get a share of the loot. I'll give you that." Tian Weiming's smile deepened. "A straightforward person speaks straightforwardly. We'll split the loot 50-50. "No problem." Yitong agreed readily. Bailey Hongzhuang crossed her arms and sneered at the scene before her. "I'll give you a chance. Get out of my sight now and I'll spare your lives." Bailey Hongzhuang's cold voice came out of her mouth, her delicate and beautiful face filled with a trace of killing intent. The two of them had not even made a move and were already thinking about how to split the loot. They did not take her seriously at all. She could only say that the two of them were unlucky to have tried to rob her. Since they were so arrogant, she did not mind showing them what true arrogance was. Tian Weiming and Yitong were both stunned by her words. Then, they burst into laughter. "What did I just hear? A good-for-nothing dares to threaten us?" Tian Weiming laughed in disbelief. This was definitely the funniest joke he had heard recently. "Just kill her and save us the trouble," Yitong said coldly. "Cultivators could come here at any time. Instead of wasting time on this good-for-nothing, why not just kill her?" Tian Weiming nodded in agreement. "Do you want to do it or should I?" "I'll do it." Yitong raised her eyebrows and smiled. "Master, these two are too evil." Xiao He could not stand it any longer. She wanted to rush up and kill Yitong and Tian Weiming. Bailey Hongzhuang was still smiling, but her eyes were as cold as ice. "Since you don't cherish the opportunity, I can only send you to hell." In the next moment, Bailey Hongzhuang raised a finger. "One move. Arrogant." Yitong's expression became unsightly. This piece of trash actually dared to say that he could cripple her in one move? Wasn't this a joke? With a thought, the yuan energy in his body surged out, revealing the strength of a late-stage mysterious Earth realm expert. "Die." Yitong dashed forward and brandished her sword, aiming for Bailey Hongzhuang's vitals. She wanted to kill Bailey Hongzhuang. Bailey Hongzhuang narrowed her eyes. Yi Itong was indeed a ruthless person. In the past, she had never had any conflicts with Yi Itong. But now Yi Itong wanted to kill her as soon as she made a move. It could be seen how vicious she was. The moment Yi Itong made her move, Bailey Hongzhuang also made her move. Shadowless kill. A silver light streaked across the sky. Bailey Hongzhuang's figure disappeared on the spot. Shadowless kill killed without leaving a trace. Its speed was so fast that it was impossible to judge. In her previous life, she had used Shadowless kill to show off in front of her clansmen. Although she had changed her body now, she was still skilled in using it. Tian Weiming looked at the scene in front of him casually. He did not care about Bailey Hongzhuang's life or death. He only wanted to watch a show while he got his share of the benefits.